Howie Rose, Tom McCarthy, back here at Shea. You know, as of about 4 o'clock this afternoon, the Mets had sold 7,000 tickets for this game since the end of yesterday's game in Pittsburgh. And just looking out onto Roosevelt Avenue and its environs as the Mets take the field, I can tell there's a pretty big traffic jam. People trying to get into the ballpark right now, and if you are stuck in traffic, you will no doubt understand why we've been saying all year, if you're coming to the ballpark, take the train to the game. Go to Mets.com for all the transit information on how to get here by train. But right now, with the Mets on the field, Tom, time to look at the lineup.
Yeah, Steve Traxel's making his way out to the mound. The starting lineups are sponsored by Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all in Mystic Country, Connecticut. First for the Florida Marlins, and their manager Joe Girardi, leading it off and playing shortstop, Hanley Ramirez. Dan Uggla, the second baseman, bats second. Miguel Cabrera is over at third base. He hits third for the Marlins. Josh Willingham is in left field. He bats cleanup. Mike Jacobs, who we didn't see that much last week in Florida, gets the start at first base with the right-hander on the mound. He bats fifth. Cody Ross is in right field, batting sixth. Alfredo Amezaga will hit seventh. He's the center fielder. Miguel Olivo does the catching. He's the number 8 batter. And batting ninth and pitching is right-hander Brian Bowler. Meanwhile, for the New York Mets, their lineup is virtually the same lineup that you will see in Game 1 of the postseason. Whoever it is, the Mets will wind up playing. Leading it off and playing shortstop, Jose Reyes. The catcher, Paul LaDuca, bats second. Carlos Beltran is in center field. He hits third. Carlos Delgado gets the start over at first base, of course. He bats cleanup. David Wright, the third baseman, hits fifth. Cliff Floyd is in left field once again. He bats sixth. Hitting seventh and playing right field, Sean Green. The number 8 batter is Jose Valentin, the second baseman. And batting ninth and pitching is right-hander Steve Traxel. Traxel enters tonight's ballgame with a 14-7 record and an ERA of 5.17 and an awful lot to prove as well. And he is finishing up his warm-up tosses on the mound. The Mets wearing their alternate black tops with the white pants. And the Marlins getting set to play this game with their road gray uniforms, coming off a very tough loss yesterday to the Atlanta Braves, in which they scored 4 runs at the top of the 10th inning and then allowed 5 runs in the bottom of the 10th inning. And it was a circus atmosphere in the outfield, particularly with Reggie Abercrombie at center field and Josh Willingham in left field. Well, tonight's first pitch is brought to you by American Capital Partners, your partners for financial success. And as Steve Traxel finishes up his warm-up tosses, Hanley Ramirez heads out to the mound, or heads out to the plate to start things off for Florida. And kicking things off for us, here's Howie Rose.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Our game time temperature is brought to you by P.C. Richard & Son, the appliance, electronics, and computer giant. 74 degrees at game time tonight. And so, Hanley Ramirez with an 8-game hitting streak, a right-hand hitting shortstop, one of several outstanding rookies on this Florida ball club, will lead off against Traxel, who makes his 29th start of the year, 14-7 with a 5.17 earned run average. The crowd is charged. And now Traxel with the first pitch of the night, a fastball on the outside corner, strike one. Ramirez batting at .290 with 13 home runs, 52 runs batted in. He also has 40 doubles and 10 triples. The outfield straight away against him, right even with a bag at third. And a breaking ball hit hard to short, picked on one hop by Reyes, throws to first in time, one away. Good play by Jose, who had to go to his knee to grab that hard hit one hopper, spin around, and fire to first base to get Ramirez.
Well, Howie, a good start for Steve Traxel for a number of reasons. Not only because he got the leadoff batter, which is always important, but also he got his curveball over for a strike. Now, the one issue about it was a little high in the zone, but at least he had it in the zone, whereas the last couple of starts, that curveball was way outside and in the dirt most of the time.
That is as big a reason as any why his walks have been up and why they have scored so many runs against Traxel in particular over his last 4 starts. Dan Uggla on a 9-game hitting streak. The rookie second baseman hits the first pitch on the ground to short. Right at Reyes, throws to first in time, 2 away. So Traxel records 2 quick ground ball outs. And the batter will be Miguel Cabrera. Now, over the last 4 starts that Traxel has made, he has given up 16 earned runs over a total of 18 innings. And control has had a lot to do with that. Just over his last 2 starts, he's walked 9 in 7 innings combined. And not being able to command that curveball is a big reason why. He does not throw all that hard. Of course, we'll go to a splitter as an out pitch. But if that fastball is up and not in a perfect spot, he's going to get hit. So here's Cabrera, and a fastball in for a call, strike at the knees, 0-1. Cabrera is second in the National League in hitting at .340. Freddie Sanchez of the Pirates hitting .341, and the 0-1 taken low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, I wonder if they'll delay putting this up on the scoreboard tonight. The Chicago Cubs have jumped to a 3-0 first inning lead in Philadelphia. Aramis Ramirez has hit a 3-run homer for the Chicago Cubs. And the Cubs can take care of the Mets problem. Here's the 1-1, line foul into the seats behind first, and the count 1-2. Problem's not the right word. The Mets don't have a problem at all. They're just looking to win this thing on the field. That's been the difficulty for them. The Phillies have been winning to allow the Mets the opportunity to keep doing it themselves. But the Cubs off to an early 3-0 lead. Right here, 1-2 to Cabrera. 2 out, nobody on. Traxel into the windup. Now the pitch and a splitter low outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And right there, that's the pitch that Traxel will go to when he's looking for a strikeout, in particular, when he's ahead of the count. So 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes now. Cabrera has always hit Traxel well. 11 for 19 with 3 homers. 2-2 pitch, low outside, ball 3. Right-hand hitting Josh Willingham is on deck. Cabrera with 25 home runs, 110 runs batted in. That's tied for 6th best in the National League. So Traxel has run his first full count of the night. Outfield straight away against this right-hand power hitter. Now Traxel, payoff pitch, swing and a foul back to the screen. That time Traxel got in on Cabrera's hands, and he didn't have a great swing on it. Just punched it back to the backstop.
I like that pitch, though, Howie. Right inside of the hands of Cabrera, kind of challenging him because the last couple pitches were away from Miguel Cabrera. So in his mind, Traxel was going to continue to go away to him.
3-2, 2 out, nobody on. No score, top of the first. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's low, ball 4. Traxel went to a splitter and missed. And Cabrera becomes a 2-out base runner, and it'll bring up Josh Willingham. Now, of course, Traxel will slow things down with a runner on base. So open a no minimum balance telephone betting account at New York City OTB. Call 1-800-OTB-8118. New York City OTB, they bring the race to you. Well, here's Willingham batting at .280 with 25 home runs and 73 runs batted in. Now the right-hand batter. Lineup is loaded with righties. And the first pitch taken low outside, 1-0. Willingham is 0 for his last 9. But along with Dan Uggla, they are the first rookie teammates in the National League ever to have 20 or more home runs in their rookie season. Kind of hard to believe in the entire history of the American League, dating back to the 1876 season. 1-0 to Willingham. Now Traxel delivers. Swing and a miss at a splitter. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mike Jacobs, who along with Alfredo Amezaga will be the only left-handed bats to face Traxel, is waiting on deck. Slight breeze blowing across from right to left right now. Nothing that should play a role on any ball hit in the air. Right, deep at third, the entire infield deep. Delgado holding against Cabrera. Here's the 1-1. And Willingham pops it foul into the seats above our heads. 1-2. Traxel, with his 14 wins, even despite the recent struggle and the high earned run average of 5.17, still tied for 5th in the National League in wins. 1-2 to Willingham. Traxel has the sign from LaDuca. Cabrera, who is not fast, a very short lead at first, and Traxel throws over anyway. Cabrera's not going anywhere here. Miguel Cabrera is slow, and he barely has a lead off the first base with Delgado holding. Cabrera does have 9 stolen bases this year, but a very short lead here. Now the 1-2 pitch, And it's lifted in the air, shallow right field, coming on green, over towards the line, makes the catch, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits, a walk and one left, middle of the first at Shea. It's the Marlins nothing, and the Mets coming up on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Last of the first at Shea. The Mets looking to win and clinch the National League East for the 5th time in their history. Brian Moeller, the pitcher for the Marlins, takes his cap off, says a silent prayer, looking out towards center field. That goes down to one knee and makes an inscription. And the dirt at the back of the pitcher's mound, he writes, Dad. In memory of his father. And Jose Reyes leads off for the Mets. Switch hitter, batting left-handed. And Moeller's first pitch hit on the ground to second. Right at Dan Utley. He's got it. Throws to first, one man away. You know, the Mets could really use one of their big first innings that they've had so many times this year, because they have not played from in front, save for very briefly in Pittsburgh for one inning on Saturday night. You go back to the first division clincher the Mets had here at Shea, September 24th of 1969. Don Clendenin and Ed Charles hit first inning homers off of future Hall of Famer Steve Carlton. Mets put up a 5 spot in that first inning, and the party was on. The next 8 innings couldn't go fast enough, as the Mets won 6-0 behind Gary Gentry. Now Paul LaDuca takes fastball outside 1-0. And Moeller, based on his numbers, might be the kind of pitcher the Mets can have some fun against. Well, for one thing, he's right-handed. You know how they've struggled lately against the southpaws. Here's the 1-0 to LaDuca, outside ball 2. Moeller's earned run average for the year is 6.12. He's 7-8. This is his 19th start, his 27th appearance overall. Lifetime, though, against the Mets, he's been very good. 2-0 pitch, line into the glove of a diving Ramirez at short, 2 men away. Now, it was a bit of a humpback liner. LaDuca hit it up towards the end of the bat, and in full extension, Hanley Ramirez went into a dive and made the grab. 2 out, and Carlos Beltran coming up. Lifetime against the Mets. Moeller, who came up with the Detroit Tigers, went on to Cincinnati, Houston, and this is his second year with Florida, is 2-2 with a 2.01 ERA. First pitch to Beltran. Fastball taken for a strike, 0-1. Carlos just 2 for his last 21. He has found his way on base in 22 straight games. The 0-1, fastball outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. For the year, Beltran hitting .277, 40 home runs, 1 shy of the mark set by Todd Hundley, the best in Mets history 10 years ago. Here's the 1-1. Curveball fouled straight down. That nicked the catcher, Miguel Olivo. And the count 1-2. Beltran tied for 5th in the league with those 40 homers. And he has 114 runs batted in. That's 4th best. Plus, he leads the league in runs scored. So the home plate up, Dana Demuth gave Olivo a little extra time to shrug off that foul ball. Jim Joyce, the umpire at first. The crew chief, Paul Schreiber, is at second. Doug Eddings is the umpire at third. 1-2 to Beltran with Delgado on deck. 2 out, nobody on, no score last of the first. Moeller getting the sign from Olivo and having trouble picking him up. And now Beltran settles in as Moeller continues to stare into his catcher. Now they're on the same page. Moeller into the windup, the 1-2 pitch. Fastball outside, ball 2. Beltran has hit Moeller very well. He is 7 for 13 against him. Now Moeller ready, the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss at a breaking ball. He struck him out. The ball bobbled by Olivo, who then tags Beltran. And that completes the strikeout and retires the side. Nothing across at the end of 1. Mets nothing, Marlins nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio 6.
Fans still coming into Shea Stadium. I would imagine a huge walk-up tonight. In addition to those 7,000 tickets we told you the Mets had sold between the ending of yesterday's game and about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Well, there'll be a big crowd once everybody's settled in. No scores. We go to the second. Here's Mike Jacobs. And the first pitch, changeup by Traxel, outside 1-0. Jacobs is 0 for his last 20. And he is no longer playing against left-hand pitching as he has struggled against them. Now the 1-0 pitch. And that's outside and high, ball 2. Jacobs for the year batting at .259 with 19 homers and 75 runs batted in. Former Met, went to the Marlins in the Carlos Delgado deal. 2-0 pitch. And a fastball at the knees, strike 1.
I think they're very happy with the way Jacobs has performed this year, with the exception of this month of September where he's really struggled and where his struggles against left-handers have been accentuated. But like a lot of youngsters, I mean, sometimes that first full year, you do struggle against lefties.
Swing and a miss at a fastball, 2-2.
Ryan Howard is a perfect example last year with the Philadelphia Phillies. There were times when Charlie Manuel would sit him against left-handers. Now he won't sit him against anybody.
He'd be fired the minute he did.
He very well could be if he did that.
Ryan Howard at this point is the, no doubt, MVP of the league. 2-2 pitch. Tries to check his swing. He did, according to the third base umpire, Doug Eddings. And the count full to Mike Jacobs. Doug Eddings has maybe the widest strike zone when he's behind home plate of any umpire in the major leagues. The third base, oh, he's tough. Very narrow from there. So it'll be a payoff pitch to Jacobs, leading off the second of the scoreless game. Traxel delivers, swing and a foul back to the screen. Well, we'll look at the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all in Mystic Country, Connecticut. Well, who knows? This may be the Mets' last chance at getting this taken care of on their own. Because, as we told you before, Aramis Ramirez of the Cubs hit a 3-run home run in the top of the first inning in Philadelphia. Payoff pitch lifted in the air deep down the left field line, but slicing foul. And the count remains full. They're now in the bottom of the first at Citizens Bank Park with the Phillies batting. Sean Marshall pitching for the Cubs against John Lieber. If the Phillies were to lose before the end of this game, then it wouldn't matter what the Mets do. But they have not put the score up on the out-of-town board yet. So I think they're trying to maintain the drama as much as possible. Here's the 3-2 to Jacobs. Swing and a fly ball, well hit right field. Green drifting back now over towards the gap. Beltran there too, and Beltran balls him off to make the catch. Beltran ranged pretty far over into right center field. Green was going to get to it, but center fielder gets to anything he can, and so 1 out.
And Sean Green did exactly what a right fielder should do, or a left fielder should do, or any infielder. He peeled off as soon as Beltran made that call, and I guess because the ball was hit so high, Carlos had plenty of time to get over to make that grab.
So with 1 out, it'll bring up Cody Ross, a week removed from a 3-home run game against the New York Mets. For the year, he's hitting .253 with 12 homers. And the first pitch on the way, curveball high, 1-0. Ross, 12 homers, 43 runs batted in, and he's on a 6-game hitting streak with 11 for his last 23. Just put those 3 runs up on the board. I think I could tell a little groan from some of the fans. Here's the 1-0. Check swing and a liner foul into the seats behind first, 1-1. In fact, in case you'd rather not know what the Cubs are doing against the Phillies, really what the Phillies are doing, when we give the scores tonight, we'll give you a second if you want to just cover your ears for a moment. We'll say, all right, here comes the Phillies score, and then you can cover your ears for 3 seconds, and it'll all be over with one way or the other. 1-1 pitch, curveball outside, ball 2. So you want to practice in case you're just joining us? All right, they're in the bottom of the first in Philadelphia. Cover your ears. 1, 2, 3. All right, Cubs 3, Phillies nothing. Here's the 2-1 to Ross. Curveball, that's in for a strike at the knees, 2-2. That game is moving along. Well, we can't do it like that twice inside of 20 seconds. They're now into the bottom of the second, 3-0. 2-2 to Ross. Swing and a line drive off of Traxel or the mound. Deflects to Valentin, who throws out Ross. I'm not sure if that nicked off of Traxel's glove or clipped the back of the mound, but it certainly slowed down and changed direction for Valentine. And looking at a replay, yeah, that did hit the top of Trexel's mitt. And Ross retired 1-4-3. So 2 out, and Alfredo Amezaga coming up.
It's a good thing, too, that it hit his glove, because if it didn't, it would have gone into center field for a base hit. And, Trexel threw a couple very good pitches during that at-bat, a couple very good curveballs during that at-bat.
And he got 1 call strike on it to Cody Ross. 2 out, nobody on. Here's Amezaga, and a fastball of the knees for a strike, 0-1. David Wright coming in from third, well onto the grass against the butt possibility. Amezaga, a switch hitter, hitting .267. But he's hitting .300 against lefties and against righties and virtually nothing against lefties. The 0-1 chop towards third, charged by righties. Got it, throws, got him. With play, David Wright, even though he had trouble getting out of his glove, and that retires the side. Nothing across, middle of the second. Marlins nothing, Mets nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Howie Rose, Tom McCarthy with you at Shea. No score last of the second. Carlos Delgado leads off against Brian Moeller. Delgado batting .266, 38 home runs, 108 runs batted in. It's been a while since the Met hit a home run. First pitch on the way, fastball high, 1-0. It was Delgado who hit the last one for the Mets, and that was in Florida in the 8th inning when they were down 4-1. Carlos hit the 3-run home run that tied it. Mets went on to win it. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a fly ball, well hit left center on the run of Amezaga. Going back, still going, reaches up and makes the catch. That ball hung up just enough for Amezaga to run to the spot and get there in time to put it away. 1 man out. Remember, Hyundai donates $100 to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund, benefiting the Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital of New York Presbyterian for every home run the Mets hit in 2006. Total contribution for the season stands at $18,600. So 1 away, and now David Wright batting at .308, 24 homers, 110 runs batted in. Now the first pitch to David. Fastball over for a strike, 0-1. Amezaga plays several feet to the opposite field against David Wright. Many center fielders have started to do that. The 0-1. Ground ball hit to short in the hole. Ramirez backhand straight. Long throw is right there, and that's the second out. Play by Hanley Ramirez. 2 up, 2 down. Cliff Floyd coming up. Another out-of-town scores. Atlanta 1, Washington nothing. They're at the bottom of the second at RFK. Everything else to the National League later. In the American League, Yankees and Blue Jays scoreless last of the first in Toronto. Darrell Rasner against A.J. Burnett. Baltimore did not score. Top of the first in St. Pete. Tampa Bay now batting. Everything else later in the American League. 2 out, nobody on for Cliff Floyd. Floyd, as was prescribed, took yesterday off. And the first pitch, fastball in for a called strike. It's 0-1. But he played 6 straight games and reports no real problem apart from the constant managing of the Achilles pain that he has to do. In other words, it did not get any worse by playing 6 straight games. So Cliff's going to stay in and play as much as possible. He went 5 for 16 on the trip with a home run as he gets time from the home plate ump Dana DeMute.
Andy Chavez filled in pretty nicely yesterday with 3 base hits.
Here's the 0-1. And a changeup low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I guess in reality, Chavez was filling in right field for Sean Green, but he would be the guy that would fill in for Cliff Floyd if Willie Randolph decided to sit him for a game before the end of the year and also a game during the postseason.
1-1 to Floyd. Moeller delivers. Swing and a miss at a changeup. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the other thing, too, to remember is that the Mets carried a 12-man pitching staff most of the regular season. They probably will go with the 11th, certainly in the first round of the playoffs, which is a best of 5, which will give them an extra bench player. It may very well be Lastings Milledge. A 1-2 pitch, curveball inside, 2-2. Willie Randolph is totally non-committal about Milledge or anything else relative to the postseason roster. He says that is a decision that will be made at the end of the regular season, 13 days from now. 2-2 pitch, breaking ball, lifted in the air, center field. Amezaga started back, now comes in, makes the catch, and that retires the side. So for the second straight inning, the Mets go in order. And at the end of 2, it's the Marlins nothing, the Mets nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Bottom of the third inning, no score. Sean Green will settle in to face Brian Moeller. Moeller has retired the first 6 batters that he has faced in the ball game. He is not a guy that's going to overpower you by any stretch. In fact, Brian Moeller's fastball at one point topped out in the low 90s, and now it'll top off somewhere in the high 80s. And he's got a pretty good curve and a cutter and a changeup as well. And the first pitch to Sean Green, fastball taken for a strike on the inside corner. So it's no balls and 1 strike. Green on the year hitting .279 with 13 homers and 59 RBIs. Hitting .254 in a Mets uniform. The infield is back. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Changeup, popped up foul off the third base side and out of play. And it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Let's just look at the score, Tom. They've gone 15 innings in a row now without a run.
Well, you mentioned the last home run was in Florida last week, and the long ball has helped carry this Mets team this entire year. 2 strikes on the board to Green. The pitch from Moeller, and it hit him right on the calf. Right on the right calf. Sean Green turned, and the ball hit it pretty sharply. And now he limps up toward the first base bag. So he's aboard. That's the first base runner for the Mets.
Last 2 times up for Sean Green that he's been hit. Led off the 9th inning with a game tied in Pittsburgh on Saturday night and was flunked by Damaso Marte.
He was hit right in the ribs by Marte, and that one smarted. This one, I said it in the calf, and the replay showed it was just above the knee on the backside. So he's on first base, being held out by Mike Jacobs. And here's Jose Valentin. And boy, it's been a struggle for Jose. 1 for his last 18, and the first pitch in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes. And on the year, hitting .272 with 15 home runs and 55 RBIs. Now, each time this year, Valentin has fallen into a mini slump. He has gotten himself out of it, and got himself out of it in a big way. Recall earlier this year against the Marlins, he had 7 RBIs in the ball game. Throw over to first, Moeller chases Green back, and leading up to that, he was actually in a mini slump. And most of his struggles as of late have come from the right side of the plate, where his batting average has dropped to .202 for the year. Cabrera plays in on the grass at third, the 1-0. Fastball hit high in the air toward deep right field. Forget about this one. Gone! A home run for Jose Valentin. A 2-run shot. His 16th of the year. It went right into the Mets bullpen. And New York is on top 2-0.
Well, this team desperately needed that. They needed a lead. They needed a big hit with a man on base. They'd hardly been doing that. And they also need to take advantage, Tom, of a Florida team that lost such a devastating game yesterday. By scoring early against them, there's a chance you keep them down, and now the Mets can try and build on this and create the party that these fans have come for tonight.
Well, there's the curtain call for Valentin. Here's Steve Traxel as a 109 hitter, and Traxel takes the first pitch inside in tight. So it's 1 ball and no strikes. That pitch was right in the wheelhouse of Valentin. He now has 16 home runs and 57 RBIs. The 1-0 pitch from Moeller. That's a strike to Steve Traxel thigh high, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. There are an assortment of lights that line the bottom of the scoreboard in right field. And that ball from Valentin hit one of the lights that shines on one of the advertising panels. 1-1 pitch, chopped foul up the third base side. And it's 1-2, and it dropped right into the Mets bullpen.
Better fix that light in a hurry.
I mean, that was a bullet that was out of here in a hurry. So 1-2 now to Steve Traxel. The Mets on top 2-0. Traxel does have a home run this year and a couple RBIs. Moeller gathers his signs from Miguel Olivo with the infield back and the outfield shallow. The right-hander's ready. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, swung on and missed. And Traxel is down swinging on strikes. The second strikeout for Brian Moeller. And it'll bring Jose Reyes to the plate. Hey, folks, earlier we talked about the Time Warner Triple Play deal. It's a great deal. You get all 3 services, digital phone, cable, and internet high-speed internet for just $99 a month. And you get all three with one bill. Time Warner Cable has got it right, making everything so user-friendly and simple. Reyes is 0 for 1. He bounced out to second his only time up. The pitch to him. He shows bunt and takes cutter down low. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Cabrera, the third baseman, was right on the edge of the infield grass, and he came charging in as Reyes showed bunt. And now the fans starting to get into a little bit, chanting Jose's name. Moeller deals the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball, that's in for a strike. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Willie Randolph was asked before the ball game about Jose Reyes and the fact that Reyes reacted so angrily yesterday when he went down on strikes, looking on strikes, slamming his helmet down in the dugout. 1-1 pitch. Reyes shows bunt, bunts it in front of the plate. Moeller off the mound, picks it up with the bare hand, throws low to first, and it goes by Jacobs. Reyes turns and heads to second. He's there easily. And Jose Reyes trying to generate some offense with his wheels. And he's aboard with 1 man down.
Jose Reyes, most of the way down the line to first base, was running on the grass on the inside part of the track and then cut towards the bag. I'm surprised the Marlins are not putting up an argument here about the angle that Reyes took to first base. You know, when you hit a ball into the outfield for a base hit, you go wide. Well, Reyes, when he bunted, wanted to shorten the route to first base, but instead of running in that runner's track, he ran to the inside of first base on the grass portion. And it was only as he got to the bag that he angled himself towards first base. And that might have had something to do with that error, and I'm very surprised the Marlins did not argue that.
Well, there's times when that's called, like the other day when we saw it called against the Mets, and there's other times the umpires maybe have a bad angle to look at it. LaDuca, the batter, takes the first pitch outside. It's 1-0, but you're right, Howie. I mean, clearly the way he was hustling down the first base line, because he stepped up in front of the plate to bunt that ball, and his angle was already out of the base pass. 1-0 the count to LaDuca with a runner on second base, and 1 man down, 2-0 Mets. Moeller to the high set. The 1-0 pitch. Curveball, that's in for a strike, belt high, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Reyes, the way he's taking that lead off second base, you wonder if he's trying to size up Moeller's reaction and see if he takes a chance at third. I mean, Cabrera does not move well, and he's back behind the bag at third base.
And this would be the best time to do it, too, with 1 out. Get into position where you could score on an out.
The center fielder, Mezaga, is a few steps over toward right center field. Reyes leads off second. The 1-1 pitch hit the opposite way, a foul ball into the seats. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Just before Reyes punted that ball, Cabrera had been called from the dugout to move in closer from third base. And yet he was still fairly deep when Reyes put that bunt down.
Well, Levo has a very good arm. He's thrown out 34% of the runners trying to steal, but it's more about Cabrera winning the foot race to the bag to take that throw. He's back behind the bag again. Reyes leads off second. Ramirez keeps him close, and he spins over. And the throw by Moeller nearly got Jose Reyes, but he got his right hand back in there. Ramirez with a little daylight play. There was room between Ramirez and Reyes, and that's why Moeller, on that cue, spun and threw to second base. So again, 1-2 the count to LaDuca, batting from the right side with the infield back. Mezaga is awfully shallow in center field. A good-sized gap in left center for LaDuca. There goes Reyes. The pitch taken down low. Picked up in a short hop. Throw to third. In time on the tag by Miguel Cabrera. Nice play by Olivo. He scooped that ball up on the backhand and still, with quick hands, was able to fire a strike to third. And Reyes is retired for the second out.
Reyes started to jog off of third back to the dugout, shaking his head as if to say, no, he beat it. You know what, though? He did not. Cabrera got a quick tag down. I'm looking at a tighter angle here, and I still think Reyes was out. I think they got him on the forearm before his hand was on the bag. And looking from a different angle, that becomes a little less obvious, but I still think Olivo got him.
The 2-2 pitch to LaDuca. Breaking ball rolled on the ground toward the hole at shortstop. Cut off by Cabrera. He throws to first in time. And LaDuca's retired to finish off the third inning. But the Mets get 2 runs and a 2-run home run by Jose Valentin. We play 3 at Shea. We head to the 4th. It's 2-0 New York on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio 66 WFAN New York.
To the top of the fourth inning, it's 2-0 New York. And Steve Traxel will face Dan Ugla, Miguel Cabrera, and Josh Willingham with a 2-run lead. And the first pitch to Ugla. Fastball taken for a strike. It's 0-1. Ugla saw one pitch his first time up, and he grounded it to shortstop, where Jose Reyes took care of him. So far, Traxel's allowed only one base runner. The 0-1 pitch, good curveball. That drops in for a strike, and it's 0-2.
Tell you how profitable yesterday's loss in Pittsburgh has turned out to be. As of the first pitch, including walk-ups, they sold 10,000 tickets since the end of yesterday's game.
0-2 pitch, swung on and missed. A good splitter by Steve Traxel. And Ugla goes down swinging, the first strikeout of the night for Traxel. And there's one man down. Now that's a lot of tickets. Beautiful day today here in the tri-state area. That's helped a little bit too, plus the fact that Mets fans want to see the Mets clinch here at Shea Stadium after the 3-game sweep at the hands of the Pirates. And they've got a 2-0 lead here. Meanwhile, Philadelphia trails the Cubs 5-0 in the bottom of the third down at Citizens Bank Park. The first pitch to Miguel Cabrera, breaking ball, punched on the ground toward Valentin at second. He doesn't even have to move a step. He's got it, throws to first. Quickly, there's 2 men down here in the fourth inning.
See, that's okay. As long as the Mets keep the lead and stay ahead of that game in Philadelphia, that's all right. We won't need to get the rain gods out to drench everybody at Citizens Bank Park and stop that game so the Mets can, if they hold on to the lead here, clinch before the Philly game ends.
Howie, I looked at the radar. I don't think there's any renegade storms in the Delaware Valley tonight.
Well, you're connected down there. Work on something.
I'm going to have somebody flip the lights or something down there?
That'll work.
Take a little bit of time to put them back on.
And see, I like the way you think.
Josh Willingham is now the hitter with 2 men down in the fourth. And the pitch to Willingham, a fastball, taken for strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. By the way, the rest of the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by UPS. What can Brown do for you? Mentioned the Cubs on top of the Phillies, 5-zip on home runs by Ramos Ramirez and Juan Pierre. 0-1 pitch to Willingham. Another fastball, another strike. This one belt high. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. In Washington, the Braves and the Nationals are even at 1. That game's in the top of the fourth inning. Traxel's got his signs from Leduc, sets up outside. The 2-strike pitch to Willingham. Splitter down low, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. I say splitter down low, but the split and the curve have been very good tonight for Steve Traxel through the first 4 innings. He's ahead 1-2 to Willingham, who's 0 for 1. A right-handed hitter. Here's the pitch. Another splitter down low and away. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. St. Louis and Milwaukee, they're set to get underway in about 5 minutes. Anthony Reyes against Chris Capuano. Same with Cincinnati and Houston down in Texas. 2-2 pitch to Willingham. Fastball lined over the head of Jose Reyes toward the gap in left center field. It's in for a base hit. And it's going to roll toward the wall. Cut off by Cliff Floyd. And Josh Willingham will pull into second base with the first base hit of the night for the Florida Marlins. And he's in scoring position, and that breaks an 0 for 10 slide for Willingham, who really struggled offensively and defensively in the series against the Atlanta Braves this past weekend. So now with 2 outs and a runner on second base, it'll bring Mike Jacobs to the plate. Jacobs is 0 for 1. He flied out to fairly deep right center field his only time up. The Mets with 2 runs on 2 base hits. The Marlins no runs on now 1 base hit. The infield plays back. They play Jacobs to pull. Right is wide of the third base bag. The pitch to Jacobs. Fastball down low. It's 1-0. You know, the shame of the Willingham at bat is that Traxel was ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes and could not get him to go fishing on those pitches down and away. And then had to come in, and that's when Willingham laced the double into left center field. 28th double of the year. 1-0 to Jacobs. Fastball taken for a strike on the inside corner. And it evens up the count 1-1. 8:35 tonight. San Francisco's in Colorado. Noah Lowry against Justin Hansen. San Francisco right now is 4 back in the National League West. They've lost their last 2 games, rained out yesterday. 1-1 pitch off the outside corner with a change of speed. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. They will have to make that game up if it means anything against St. Louis. After the season, the regular season comes to a close for everybody else. They'll have to play a game on Monday, right before the playoffs get underway. 2-1 the count to Jacobs. A wide open stance from the left side. The 2-1 pitch. Swung on it, missed. Another good splitter from Traxel. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now Jacobs, who's had a tough road here in the month of September, adjusts those batting gloves, and now the crowd starts to come to their feet. Tries to back Steve Traxel, see if he can get through this 4th inning. And continue to nurture a 2-0 lead for New York. Jacobs points the bat out at center field, takes a few practice swings. Standing straight up and down, the 2-2 pitch. Fastball on the outside corner, called strike 3, and Jacobs knew it. Beautiful pitch by Steve Traxel. Second strikeout of the inning for the Marlins. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. We head to the bottom of the 4th. 2-0 New York on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Bottom of the 4th inning, Mets lead at 2-0. Gorgeous night for baseball here at Shea Stadium. Game 1 of 4 between the Mets and the Marlins. The Mets are trying to clinch the National League East title. Carlos Beltran is 0 for 1. He struck out his only time up. Takes curveball for strike 1. So it's 0-1. We'll finish up the out-of-town scoreboard. The last National League game that we've got to get to. San Diego now in first place in the National League West. They'll take on the Dodgers at 10-10. Jake Peavy against Brad Penny. The 0-1 pitch to Beltran. Fastball down. It's 1-1. The way those 2 guys pitch in a ball game, if they're both right, that game could take less than 2 hours. Giddy up. Big game for the Dodgers. They lost last night. They've lost 2 in a row. And they're back a half a game from San Diego. 1-1 to Beltran. Fastball way inside. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Meanwhile, the American League, a limited schedule, the Blue Jays have jumped out to a 1-0 lead over the Yankees. That game's in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Up at Toronto. 2-1 pitch to Beltran. Change up. Line toward deep center field. Going back at Mezzica. Still going back toward the warning track. It is. 1 hopper off the base of the wall. And Beltran pulls it to second base. A leadoff double. His 38th of the year. And he's in scoring position. He smoked that ball from Brian Moeller. Well, it looked like a changeup that was just left up in the zone, and Beltran generated all the power to send that one to center field.
That's a good sign, though, for Beltran, because he's been slumping lately, and when you're slumping, you're often over-anxious and out in front. But he stayed back nicely on that. The ball was to the outside part of the plate, and you're right. He basically provided all the power, but he had enough so that he was able to get it past the Mezzica. But the fact he stayed back and was patient, I think, is a good sign for Beltran.
79th extra base hit of the year for Beltran. He's within 1 of the Mets franchise record. And here's Carlos Delgado, 0 for 1 with a fly out to center. The pitch to him. Change up on the outside corner. Take it for strike 1. It's no balls and 1 strike. Delgado with 407 career home runs. He leads the Mets since the All-Star break in home runs with 16. And most of those were hit toward the back end of August and the beginning of September. They play him to pull with Ugla in shallow right field at second base, the 0-1. Another changeup, another strike on the outside corner. And it's 0-2. The shortstop, Hanley Ramirez, is shaded over toward the middle a little bit. As the count is 0-2 to Delgado. Cabrera, the third baseman, has to stay home with the runner on second, so Delgado's got a huge hole right at shortstop. 0-2 pitch. Fastball bends him back inside. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Down at Tampa Bay, the Orioles lead the Devil Rays 3-1. Those are 2 teams that are surely playing out the schedule. They've had some rough games since the All-Star break.
I think Tampa Bay's been playing out the decade.
Tonight, Tim Corcoran has given up 3 runs for the Devil Rays. Eric Bedard going after his 15th win for Baltimore. 1-2 to Delgado. Fastball that just missed. Off the inside corner, it's 2-2. And just underway in Chicago, the Tigers and the White Sox. And their scoreless, Kenny Rogers against Mark Burley. And for Chicago, time is running out. They're 5 games back in the American League Central and 4 back in the wild card race. Now the 2-2 pitch to Delgado. Changeup hit on the ground right side. It'll move Beltran over. Ugla has it in shallow right field. As Beltran gets to third, the throw goes to first. Delgado's retired for the first out. We mentioned that it gets the runner over to third base. It is a productive out, but That's your cleanup batter. And if you're Delgado, you wanted to get that guy home.
But the fact that it is productive will also force the Marlins to bring their infield in, which makes things that much more appetizing for David Wright. So, yeah, your cleanup hitter is designed to deliver runs. And even though he didn't personally drive him in, he still may have a lot to do with getting Beltran home.
So the infield plays in, not all the way in. With Beltran off third, the pitch to right. Changeup popped up right side. Foul territory. Jacobs above the coach's box in foul territory. Makes the call, and he puts it away, and there's out number 2. And David is talking to himself as he walks back to the dugout. That's a huge out for Brian Moeller. Now 2 men down for Cliff Floyd.
Way over anxious there, going after the first pitch in a situation where that infield is up. Got a left-hand hitter on deck. You know that there's room on base for Moeller to put you. You know, you've got to look for your pitch there. And that's what Willie Randolph has been talking about all year about, you know, David Wright still not a completely finished product.
Cliff Floyd is now the batter. He's 0 for 1 with the infield back the first pitch. Change up outside. It's 1-0.
Willie's made that specific point talking about Wright and Reyes, that once they learn to be even more aware of what a pitcher is trying to do to them, then they'll be even better than they are now.
I mean, they're close. They're both very close. Floyd's ready. The 1-0 pitch. Fastball. He checks the swing. Takes it for a strike. It's 1-1.
I mean, really, I don't think Moeller would have minded all that much if he wound up walking David Wright in that situation.
I think that's why he started him off with the changeup, too.
Right.
Which was down. But if he wanted to go after him, he probably would have thrown a fastball on the inner half or even tried to paint a fastball on the outer half of the plate. 1-1 the count to Floyd. The pitch in the dirt, scooped up by Olivo, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Cliff is 1 for 6 lifetime against Moeller. Beltran leads off third. It's 2-0 New York here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Mets got their 2 runs and a home run by Jose Valentin. His 16th of the year. Gentle breeze coming in from center field. Moeller to the high set, the 2-1 pitch. Fastball right down Broadway. And it's taken for a strike. It's 2-2. Cliff Floyd has a word with Dana DeMuth, the home plate umpire. Looks like a pretty good pitch. By the way, in Philadelphia, Aramis Ramirez has struck again. And the Cubs have scored 3 more runs. They lead the Phillies 8-0, top of the 4th inning. The 2-2 to Floyd. Change up in the dirt. And it's bellied up by Miguel Olivo. Blocks it in front of the plate. And it's full now, 3-2.
Well, that's the way it's going to be. Let the Cubs bat for about an hour and a half. Slow that thing down. And obviously Floyd wouldn't mind getting Beltran in here and widen the Mets lead. Because it looks like one way or the other, this division will be clinched within the next couple of hours.
3-2 to Floyd with a runner on third. The Mets on top, 2-0. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Floyd takes a few practice swings, now calls time.
Oh, Cliff, you can't be doing that. We're in a race here.
Yeah, but if it produces another run, that's a good thing.
Oh, that's true. You see, you're a visionary. I'm just impatient.
Everybody seems to be ready now. And the payoff pitch to Cliff Floyd. Swung on and missed. That's a good cutter from Brian Moeller, and Floyd tosses the bat aside. He's down on strikes to finish off the 4th inning. For the Mets, they get a leadoff double, but Beltran is stranded on third. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. We played 4. It's 2-0 New York on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio 60.
Top of the 5th inning, and Steve Traxel, Howie, is settling in against the Marlins.
Still 2-0 New York. Cody Ross leads off, swings and misses 0-1. That's had a chance to widen the lead in the bottom of the 4th inning, but they could not get Beltran home after a leadoff double. So it'll be Ross, Alfredo Amezaga, and Miguel Olivo for the Marlins against Traxel here in the 5th. Right-hand batter, outfield straightaway. Steve steps off. Traxel, when there's no one on base, works a very quick pace. And I know that doesn't sound right when you're talking about Steve Traxel, but it's true. It's when there are runners on that things change. The 0-1 curveball, that's on the outside corner at the knees, strike 2. And Tom, you made the point about 2 innings ago Traxel's curveball has been getting better and better, and he's getting called strikes with it now.
There's a big looping break to it, too, Howie. From top to bottom, 12 to 6, and it's dropping down in the zone nicely, and the Marlins are having a tough time picking it up.
The 0-2 pitch, and that's a 59-footer that bounds off of Loduca. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Steve will do that often with his splitter when he's ahead 0-2, 1-2. He'll just hope to get the hitter to go after a bad ball and leave it in the dirt. And he did there, and the count's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now Traxel ready, and the 1-2 pitch. And a swing and a looper, shallow center. Beltran coming in, still coming, gets there and makes the catch. That ball hung up for Carlos, and that's the first out here at the top of the 5th inning. It'll bring up Alfredo Amezaga. The Chrysler Town and Country gives you more than 20 years of minivan leadership and innovation on the road. Chrysler, inspiration comes standard. Amezaga grounded to third his first time. Tells you about the differential for Amezaga between left-hand pitchers and right-hand pitchers. There's Amezaga as a switch hitter. He is just 3 for 43 against left-handers. He hits 300 against the righties. And Traxel's first pitch, fastball high, 1-0. Amezaga once again draws David Wright in on the grass at third. Delgado plays even with a bag at first. Miguel Olivo waiting on deck. Marlins only hit Josh Willingham's 2-out single in the 4th. Now the 1-0 pitch. And a changeup on the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike to Amezaga. This guy plays all over the place. Amezaga is actually the only player in the National League who has played every infield and every outfield position. The 1-1 pitch, fastball high and outside, 2-1. They've played him quite often in center field, but he made 1 or 2 nice plays so far tonight in center. Nothing spectacular. He doesn't always get great breaks on balls and is not really a natural center fielder. Here's the 2-1 pitch, outside and low, 3-1. And that's got to be one spot where, looking ahead to next year and beyond, the Marlins are going to be looking to beef up in center field. Problem with them is they're a low-budget team. 3-1 pitch, fastball in for a called strike 2, and that really makes the pickings a little slimmer.
I also think that they have to make a decision, too, on the futures of Josh Willingham and even Mike Jacobs. They're young and they're good offensively, but both of those guys, have scuffled a little bit defensively, and Jacobs has scuffled against left-handed pitchers. Payoff
pitch hit foul right behind us, and the count still full to Amezaga.
I would think you can get away, Howie, with one guy that's I don't want to say a defensive liability, but is a work in progress defensively. But I think you run into problems when you have more than one guy, particularly in the infield. And Cabrera has not always played great at third base either.
Ideally, if Willingham is going to play left field, you got to get a center fielder who can go and get the ball, cover some ground. Now the payoff pitch to Amezaga, swing and a fly ball right field, moving to his left. Green makes the catch. 2 men out. And it'll bring up Miguel Olivo. At Foxwoods Resort Casino, great entertainment is always in play. Check out everything from gaming and dining to the best shows and hottest clubs. For more, log on to foxwoods.com. 2 out, nobody on, and here's Olivo. Not a guy that you want to throw a strike on the first pitch if you can help it. He is a very aggressive hitter. He's hit 15 home runs this year, and 11 of them have come on the first pitch. So you're asking for trouble if you put one right in the strike zone to him, at least with the first pitch. So Traxel's first pitch is low outside, 1-0. Now I guess the at-bat begins. Olivo, a .263 hitter. With the pitcher, Brian Moeller on deck. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And a curveball in for a strike. Another good curve by Traxel.
He's got 1 home run in September. It came yesterday. It came on the first pitch.
Absolutely. Mets with a 2-0 lead as the Marlins bat 2 out. Nobody on, top of the 5th. Phillies are on the board in Philadelphia. 1-1 to Olivo, taken low, ball 2. They're in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Phillies have a run in. It's 8-1 Chicago. And if the Phillies lose before this game is over, it doesn't matter what the Mets do with that magic number at 1. Traxel from the first base side of the rubber has the sign from Loduca. And the 2-1 pitch. Foul back this way, just underneath us. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A couple of ladies sitting together, one with a glove, and the one without the glove caught the ball. Is being congratulated. The roar you hear right now, it's not all to congratulate that particular lady. They want the strikeout from Traxel. 2-2 pitch. Did he go around? No, says the first base umpire, Jim Joyce. It was a fastball that was riding in, and Olivo went into a turn but didn't offer, and so the count full. Now Traxel ready. Here's the payoff pitch. Swinging a hard hit ground to the third, scooped up by right, throws to first, in time, side retired. Nothing across, middle of the fifth. Mets 2, Marlins nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. They are still on the bottom of the fourth in Philadelphia. The Cubs leading the Phillies 8-2. And here at Shea, the Mets with a 2-0 lead on Jose Valentin's 2-run home run in the third inning. Valentin will bat second in this inning as Sean Green leads off. And Green started the rally somewhat painfully in the third when he was hit by a pitch from Brian Moeller. He's been flunked now 2 straight times up. First pitch from the right-hander. Curveball in for a strike, 0-1. Green has not been hitting. He has just 2 hits in his last 20 at-bats. Had that great day in the doubleheader when he had 3 hits in each game against the Braves on the last homestand. 0-1. Breaking ball rolled to second, right at Ugly. Gathers it in and tosses to first in time. 1 out. Green had home runs in each of those 2 games. The only home runs he's hit for the Mets. Well, here's a guy who hit one last time, and that's Jose Valentin. Launching one into the Mets bullpen in right field for his 16th home run. He now has 57 runs batted in. And Jose is another guy who's been much more comfortable, particularly in the recent past against right-hand pitching. First pitch, curveball in for a strike, 0-1. Jose is 0 for 22 his last times up against left-handers. Not had a hit this month against a left-handed pitcher. But Moeller, a right-hander here. Valentin took him deep last time. They play Jose to pull in the outfield with Traxel on deck. Now Moeller into the windup. The 0-1. Fastball high and outside, 1-1. And for a guy who's been walloped around lately, Brian Moeller has been very good tonight. That home run by Valentin. The only real mistake that he's made. The 1-1. That's hit in the air to right field. Pretty deep. Back goes Ross. He's at the wall. It is gone. Home run, Jose Valentin. His second home run of the game. And the Mets have a 3-0 lead. Valentin hit it just underneath the scoreboard to the right of the 371 mark. And with a clincher on the table tonight, it's turning into Valentin night here at Shea. 3-0 New York. Crowd's waiting for a curtain call. Jose hasn't been seen yet. Here he comes. And he tips his helmet to the fans. 3-0 Mets. First pitch to Traxel. Fastball in for a called strike. And whoa, the Phillies are coming back. 8-6 Cubs in the bottom of the fourth inning in Philadelphia. Now the 0-1 to Traxel. And that's fouled on the ground up the third base side. Manny Acta calls off Miguel Cabrera. Plays the grounder. Spots the fan and flips it to him. How about that? I haven't seen a third base coach call off a third baseman in a long time. I'd ask Manny if he ever played center field. I don't know what Manny played.
Well, I think the third base coach has the right of way there.
He does. Breaking ball to Traxel. Hit into right field, a base hit. Just past the diving Ugla. And Traxel has his 6th hit of the year at only 48 at-bats. Jose Hernandez hit a grand slam for the Phillies as part of that big bottom of the fourth inning. And it is 8-6 Chicago. And even if that only slows the game down, that's all right, because this crowd wants a spontaneous combustion at the third out if the Marlins make the third out in the top of the ninth inning with the Mets ahead. By the way, congratulations to Catherine Swinsky of Darien, Connecticut. She's going to Christo's Steakhouse, courtesy of Jose Valentin. Jose Reyes swings at a breaking ball, tried to hold his swing. It's 0-1. Of course, Valentin did the heavy lifting, but the guys who were footing the bill are pals at Top Dot Mortgage. So 0-1 to Reyes, who bunted his way on back in the third inning. Also grounded to second in the first. So Traxel a base runner with one out. 3-0 New York, last of the fifth. Infield a double play depth. Cabrera on the grass at third. The 0-1 lifted in the air, foul down the left field line. And the count 0-2. And you know, an observation here, but over the last few games since the Mets have had the chance to clinch this thing on the field, Reyes in particular has been a little over-anxious at the plate. You could make the same statement about David Wright, certainly his last time up, and that's not surprising. The 0-2 swing and a miss at a changeup. He struck him out. So Reyes down on strikes, and for Moeller his fourth strikeout, 2 men away. Now you got veterans like Delgado and LaDuca who have not been to the postseason before, but they're roughly a decade older than Wright and Reyes. And for the kids, who figure to be such a huge part of this franchise for the foreseeable future, I can understand them being a little more antsy than some of the other players, even those who haven't been there before.
I think that's what Willie Randolph talked about when he said he wants them to consume all of this process.
Duca takes low outside 1-0.
Because if they go through it one time, you figure the second time, and even beyond that they go through it, they're better prepared for it.
Well, the crowd whooping it up here. Still a long way to go. Oh, I get it. They're doing the wave. 1-0 to LaDuca, swung on and missed. Breaking ball, and the count 1-1.
Yeah, they're struggling with it right now, though, Howie.
Well, it's an 80s thing. I bet you a lot of the fans here never saw a 1980s style wave.
Kingdom?
Yeah, that's where it started, right?
Wasn't it University of Washington football? Was that where it started?
I don't know, but I seem to associate the Kingdom with it. Here's the 1-1. Fastball, and it's in for a called strike. LaDuca tried to hold his swing. It didn't matter, and the count's 1-2. Did you of Washington play at the Kingdom, or were they outdoors?
They were outdoors.
So maybe that's where it started. I couldn't wait for it to end. But as Ralph Kiner always said, the best part about the wave is gives you a chance to straighten your shorts. Ralphie had it all figured out. 1-2 to LaDuca, pulled on the ground to third, picked up by Cabrera, flips to second, forced play on Traxel, and that retires the side. Mets had 1 run on 2 hits. No errors, 1 man left to the end of 5. Mets 3, Marlins nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio.
Everybody likes to go to a party, and since the end of yesterday's game in Pittsburgh, the Mets sold a total of approximately 10,000 tickets for this game. There was a big walk-up. The walk-up, I guess from about 4 o'clock to game time, was somewhere around 3,000. And altogether, 10,000 tickets sold since yesterday's defeat in Pittsburgh. And so far, the fans are getting what they've come for. The Mets lead 3-0. Although in Philadelphia, the Phillies are trailing, but they have come back against the Cubs, who led 8-0. That's now 8-6. That game's in the bottom of the 4th, and we're going to the top of the 6th. And that's important, you know, for this game to keep its distance from that one in Philadelphia, to preserve the spontaneity of it if the Mets can hold the lead. And that's, of course, the most important point, Tom, going to the 6th inning.
And one of the most important things, too, is that Steve Traxel's allowed only 1 base hit through the first 5. Very effective over his after his last couple of outings. And now he'll face Jason Wood to start things off. Wood is the pinch hitter for Brian Moeller, whose night is done. So Wood, who is as seasoned Major League Baseball player as you will find. He's been to the Major Leagues before, but the last time was in 1999 with the Detroit Tigers. Batting here against Traxel, first pitch, fastball inside. It's 1 ball and no strikes.
The season did, but they forgot to turn him.
He was all set to head home and decide what he was going to do with his life. He was going to go back to school and get his degree in teaching. 1-0 pitch to Wood. Bounced on the ground foul toward Bobby Beecham on the third base side. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike. At Albuquerque this year, he had .288 with 11 home runs and 77 RBIs. For his career in the minor leagues, he had 176 home runs. Anyway, the Marlins invited him to spend September in South Florida. So he took him up on it. The 1-1 pitch from Traxel. Breaking ball lifted in the air. Shallow right field. Backing up Valentine. Backpedaling toward Green. Green makes the call. And he makes the catch at short right as his hat flops off. And there's 1 man down. That's 5 in a row retired by Steve Traxel. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. It's brought to you by Acela. Now Amtrak guest reward members can earn a free trip. Visit Amtrak.com. In Philadelphia, the Phillies trailed the Chicago Cubs 8-0 going into the bottom of the 4th inning. Aramis Ramirez had 2 3-run home runs for Chicago, plus an RBI single. Juan Pierre had a solo home run for the Cubs. But then the Phillies scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. They're still batting with 2 men down. The first pitch to Hanley Ramirez, chopped foul past Bobby Beecham, and the count is 0-1. They're still batting with 2 men down, 6 runs across the plate, and 2 runners on base. So they're in the bottom of the 4th. It's 8-6 Chicago. Jose Hernandez pinch hitting for the second pitcher used in that game. Eude Brito hit a grand slam for the Phillies that brought them to within 2. John Lieber is done for the Phils. Sean Marshall is done now for the Cubs. 0-1 to Ramirez. Fastball for strike along the knees. It's 0-2.
You know, Tom, we've been talking about the Phillies and how that game relates to this one. But it's much more important in the overall scope of the standings because of the Phillies standing in that wild card race. This is a huge game for them if they can complete their comeback.
And they trail the Dodgers by 1 game in the wild card. 0-2 pitch to Ramirez. Outside. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the Dodgers play later on. They'll host the Padres at 10-10. Jake Peavy against Brad Penny. Down in Washington, the Braves and the Nationals are tied at 1. That game's in the bottom of the 5th inning. Kyle Davies against Tony Armas. The wind is Traxel, the 1-2 pitch. Fastball on the inside corner. Called strike 3. I'm not really sure what Ramirez was looking for. That's a pretty good pitch. He has a few words for Dana DeMuth. But for Traxel, his 3rd strikeout. And there's 2 men down here in the 6th inning. So with the Mets on top 3-0, Traxel's got 2 outs. And now we'll face Dan Uggla. Uggla's 0 for 2. He's bounced out to shortstop. And he's also gone down swinging on strikes. The Mets infield plays back from 3rd to 1st. There's a pitch to Dan Uggla. Curveball that drops in for a strike, and it's 0-1. And that has been the best pitch tonight for Steve Traxel. It's only because it's setting up his fastball. LaDuca sets up outside. Here's the 0-1 from Traxel. Another curveball popped up behind Delgado. First base side, slicing into foul territory. Delgado and Valentine over. Valentine slides, and it lands right at his feet and hops into the stands. And the count is 0-2. All 3 were there. Green, Delgado, and Valentine. And it was Valentine who, because of his home runs tonight, you envisioned making a great grab.
Well, at least he timed his slide right so that he did not go hard into the railing. That's really the only thing he's got to be concerned with in that situation. Don't get hurt.
So now with 2 men down and 2 strikes on the board, this crowd, a large crowd here at Shea Stadium, they come to their feet. They're trying to will Steve Traxel through this 6th inning. He takes a breath. He's got his signs from LaDuca. Now he's in the wind. The 2-strike pitch. Swing and a chopper toward 3rd. Should be the inning. Nice hop for David Wright. He settles and throws. It's time to get Dan Uggla. And the inning is over. Good inning for Steve Traxel. He has retired the Marlins in order in the last 2 frames. We head to the bottom of the 6th. It's 3-0 New York on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Now we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. New pitcher for the Florida Marlins, Reniel Pinto. And yes, he is a left-hander. And he'll come on to face Carlos Beltran, Carlos Delgado, and David Wright. The Mets lead it 3-0. Beltran tonight is 1 for 2. He has doubled. He's also gone down swinging on strikes. Mets scored their 3 runs thanks to a 2-run home run by Valentin and a solo home run by Valentin. So here we go, bottom of the 6th inning. Mets lead at 3-zip. And Reniel Pinto, the big left-hander, working from the stretch of the first pitch. Fastball that missed inside. It's 1-0. We'll finish up the out-of-town scoreboard. By the way, the Cubs have tacked on another run against the Phillies. A Scott Moore solo home run. His second of the year. 9-6 Chicago. Next offering to Beltran off the glove of Miguel Olivo off the inside corner back to the backstop. So it's 2-0. St. Louis at Milwaukee. That game is in the bottom of the 2nd inning. It's 1-zip Brewers. Anthony Reyes against Chris Capuano. Meanwhile, San Francisco and Colorado just underway. Noah Lowry against Justin Hampson. And in the American League, the Blue Jays have extended their lead over the Yankees to 3-0. That one's in the top of the 5th inning. Darryl Rasner against A.J. Burnett. 2-0 pitch to Beltran. Swing and a miss at a changeup up high. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike. The Orioles have extended their lead over the Devil Rays to 4-1. They have moved to the home half of the 5th at Tropicana Field. Corey Patterson has hit his 14th home run, a 3-run shot. In a very important game in Chicago, the Tigers, thanks to a Craig Monroe home run, lead the White Sox 2-0. 2-1 pitch to Beltran. Pulled foul over the Marlins dugout. Now to play, it's 2-2. Well, Beltran still looking for his 41st home run of the season, which would tie Todd Hundley with the franchise record in home runs. It's also 1 extra base hit away from tying Howard Johnson for the franchise record of extra base hits. 2-2 pitch. Fastball outside. It's 3-2. Not only that, I think this one is just as impressive, particularly if you put them all together, and it looks like he's going to get all of them. The runs scored for a season. The fact that he's zeroing in on that record as well. And again, so is Jose Reyes. Beltran readies himself. Here's the payoff pitch. Breaking ball outside, ball 4. It's a good hold by Beltran. And he's aboard to start the 6th inning. And that'll bring Carlos Delgado to the plate. In Texas, the Mariners and the Rangers are scoreless in the 3rd. Felix Hernandez against Kevin Millwood. Millwood has quietly had a very good year. He's 15-10. His ERA is 4.5. And a win tonight would give him his 16th victory. Hernandez has also come back and has pitched well in the 2nd half of the year. And then at 10:05 tonight, Cleveland is in Oakland. Vic Westbrook against Dan Herron. The A's on top of the Angels by 7 games in the American League West. Here the Mets lead at 3-0. Bottom of the 6th inning, Carlos Delgado the batter with a runner on first. They play Delgado to pull, looking for 2. Pinto comes ready and the pitch to him. Fastball outside and low. 1 ball and no strikes. Reniel Pinto was part of the deal that brought some pretty good pitchers from the Chicago Cubs to the Marlins for Juan Pierre. In fact, Ricky Nolasco, who pitched so well yesterday for the Florida Marlins and has done a nice job this year for Florida, he was part of that deal as well. Really turned out to be a very good deal for Florida, even though Juan Pierre has put together a solid season offensively in a bad year for the Chicago Cubs. The other guy that the Marlins got was Sergio Mitre, who they eventually think is going to be in their rotation as well. In fact, he was earlier this year. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Delgado. Bounced on the ground foul toward the Mets dugout on the first base side. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Reniel Pinto, good size kid at 6'4", 195 pounds. He is from Venezuela, and he's just 24 years old. He has been seasoned this year in the big leagues, partly because the Marlins didn't have anybody else, so they brought up a lot of the youngsters. Beltran leads off first, the 1-1 to Delgado. Hit foul behind home plate. And into the Loge, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. I think yesterday, though, was probably the toughest loss that Joe Girardi has had to endure this entire year. I mean, they only won 17 games early on this season, in their first 51. They were 17-34 at that point, which everybody expected. Pinto looks over at first, the 1-2 to Delgado. Swing and a miss. He got him on a slider. Delgado is down on strikes for the first out. But yesterday, they get a good outing from Ricky Nolasco. The only problem was that the Braves performed very well as well on their end. But the Marlins scored 4 runs in the top of the 10th inning. to take the lead against the Braves. And it seemed like with Joe Borowski coming on to finish it off, the game was over. But the outfield, particularly Reggie Abercrombie in center and Josh Willingham in left, I mean, they imploded with one man down. Here's David Wright, who's 0 for 2. Beltran leads off first. The pitch swung on and missed. David way out in front of a changeup, and it's 0-1. Willingham misplayed 2 balls, including the game winner, including the first one, or the first base runner for the Braves, a slicing line drive off the bat of Brian McCann. And Abercrombie, as a toss goes over to first base from Pinto, and Beltran dives back. And Jacobs, who swept the tag off the shoulder of Beltran, is claiming that Carlos never hit the bag. And here comes Joe Girardi.
As though Girardi could see that from the dugout.
Well, they got Beltran in between steps. And what Jacobs is saying is that Beltran never hit the bag because he hit Jacobs' foot. But here's the thing. I don't think Jacobs ever bent down and actually tagged Beltran. He swept the tag along the shoulder, but it looked like right above the shoulder of Beltran. And I think that's why the first base umpire, Jim Joyce, said that he was safe. Yeah, Howie, I don't think he ever touched him.
Now looking at a replay, there's no question that Beltran's hand was back in before Jacobs even swept at him, much less whether he tagged him or not.
Well, Jacobs did a good job of putting his foot there to slow him down, but I think Jim Joyce made the right call. 0-1 the count to David Wright with a runner on first. Pinto set again the pitch. Fastball way inside, and David has to skip out of the way of that pitch. So it's 1-1. 3-0 Mets here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Mets are looking to clinch their first divisional title since 1988. Infield looks to turn 2. Pinto takes his time, and now a breath, the 1-1. Line drive toward third, knocked down by Cabrera. It goes between his legs. He picks it up 3 steps behind him, and Wright is going to be safe at first. Beltran safe at second base. That's going to be an error charge to Miguel Cabrera, his 16th of the year. A one-hopper that was hit pretty sharply by David Wright, but certainly a ball that a third baseman should have handled. I think Cabrera just pulled his glove up a little bit too much. It grazed off his glove on one hop and went right between his legs. The runner's now on first and second, and the batter is Cliff Floyd. Now the Mets are going to try to make the Marlins pay. They lead it 3-0, but they'd love some breathing room going into the back end of this game. Floyd tonight is 0 for 2. He's flied out, and he is struck out. Batting from the left side with 2 runners on. Pinto set. Here's the pitch. Fastball way outside. It's 1-0.
Here again now, Tom. This is the part of the batting order where the Mets need those left-hand hitters to be productive against the left-hand pitcher. You've got Floyd with Green on deck. Valentin will have to turn around at that right-handed where he struggled. This is why teams have started to throw lefties at the Mets.
Sure, that's why Pinto came into the ball game out of the bullpen for the Marlins. 1-0 pitch. Check swing by Floyd. It's called a strike. It's 1-1.
That's a good to see lefties next couple of nights. Scott Olson, Dontrell Willis. If you've got them, you're going to throw them at the Mets. And really, it's the teams in the National League East who are in the wild card race, the Marlins and the Phillies, who would provide the most difficulties in that department should the Mets see either of those teams in the playoffs.
1-1 now. The count to Floyd. Moves the bat up and down off his left shoulder. The pitch from Pinto. Hit foul toward the on-deck circle. Into the hands of Sean Green. It's 1-2. And the Padres have David Wells. And that's it from a starting staff standpoint. The rest of their staff is laden with right-handers. Chris Young, Woody Williams, Jake Peavy. The Dodgers, meanwhile, have Hong-Chi Kuo and Eric Stoltz. Those are 2 rookies, but you would imagine that Brad Penny, Greg Maddux, I mean, those guys are going to be the frontline guys. Derek Lowe, if the Dodgers make the postseason. The 1-2 pitch to Floyd. Chopped on the ground toward first. Pass by Jacobs into right field. Rounding third. Heading for home is Beltran. Ross held the baseball and then threw to second base. Beltran slides it safely at home. An RBI signal for Cliff Floyd, and the Mets are on top 4-0.
I have no idea why Ross was so passive on that play. Once that ball got into right field, he's got to get there in a hurry and come up throwing, which he did not, and I think he was just indecisive about whether or not he thought he had a chance at all on Beltran. But, you know, because the ball wasn't hit all that hard, Ross had to be very aggressive in pursuing it. He was not. And he had to come up throwing immediately, and he did not. So the Mets get another run, but more importantly, I think Looking forward is Floyd delivering against the left-hand pitcher.
And another lefty now, Sean Green with the infield back. The Mets on top 4-0. The pitch to Green. Fastball for a strike, and it's 0-1. Green is 0 for 1. He was hit by a pitch his first time up, and he scored ahead of Valentine, who has 2 home runs. One a 2-run shot, the other a solo shot. Wright leads off second, Floyd off first. The 1-strike pitch to Green. Swing and a miss of the slider, and it's 0-2. One thing Willie Randolph did say, and he and Rick Down know better than anybody in that dugout, that the Mets left-handed hitters have not been pulling away from the left-handed pitchers. They're just not swinging at the right pitches. They're getting fastballs and they're letting the fastballs go by. And now the 0-2 pitch to Sean Green. In the dirt, scooped up by Olivo. It's 1-2.
There's one other very interesting piece of information that takes a little bit of the burden for the Mets' problems against left-hand pitchers off of simply the hitters. In the game since August 1st, which was the line of demarcation that left-hand pitchers have started against the Mets starting pitchers in those games have an earned run average of 7.14.
The 1-2 pitch to Green. Breaking ball, chopped on the ground towards second. Big hop for Uggles. Flips to second for 1. Ramirez over to first in time to get Sean Green. A 4-6-3 double play, and the inning is over. But the Mets do get a run on 1 base hit. They strand 1. We head to the 7th. It's 4-0 New York on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio 66.
Top of the 7th inning. The Mets lead it 4-0, and Miguel Cabrera leads it off. He's 0 for 1. Steve Traxel so far has allowed just 1 base hit. That was a double to Josh Willingham, the guy on deck. And Traxel's in the line, and the pitch to Cabrera. Fastball taken for a strike along the knees, and the count is 0-1. And Steve Traxel has lived down in the zone for most of this night, in particular with his fastball, and of course a splitter as well. But more importantly, that fastball. It's not up in the zone. 0-1 pitch. Inside and tight. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. And he begins the 7th inning here. And he has recently pitched 7 innings for the Mets. In fact, back in August against the Rockies, he went 7 innings in a victory. The 1-1 pitch to Cabrera. Change up inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. I think more than anything else, the Mets have still some time that they have to close out in this game, but Traxel has looked very effective compared to his last 2 starts, which is a good sign as the infield plays back. The 2-1 to Cabrera. Curveball hit in the air foul over the first base dugout. And it's to the Loge. The count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cabrera has had himself a sizzling second half. In fact, he and Freddie Sanchez have been jockeying for the top spot in the National League batting average lead these last few days. Cabrera held it for a day, and then Sanchez had a couple hits against the Mets yesterday. The 2-2 pitch to Cabrera. Fastball outside. It's 3-2. Marlins were a little upset about a change by the official score in Atlanta on Saturday with John Smoltz on the mound. I guess originally Cabrera was awarded a base hit on a play, and then after the ball game, the base hit was changed to an error. 3-2 pitch to Cabrera. Hit foul again over the first base dugout. And the count holds full 3-2. Mets defense in left field, Cliff Floyd straight away and deep. In center field, Beltran is a few steps over toward the gap in right center. And Sean Green is straight away in right field. Infield hangs back from third to first. Traxel takes a breath, gets his signs. Now the payoff pitch to Cabrera. Swing and a fly ball down the right field line, a foul ball. And it's out of play, so the count holds full 3-2. So Traxel will get a new baseball back, rub it up, and then step toward the back of the mound. Cabrera is set, so is Steve Traxel. Now the payoff pitch to Cabrera. Fastball fisted foul down the first base line. It's a pretty good at-bat by Cabrera.
Wasn't it when we were in Florida last week that Hanley Ramirez hit a ball to David Wright, which really should have been an error? He juggled the ball, then rushed his throw, threw wide, not wildly, but wide, pulling Delgado off the bag, and they gave Ramirez a hit. So those things tend to even out. Home team scoring. is evident everywhere.
Payoff pitch again. Again, it's fouled off to the right side.
Well, I'm sure if Bill Shannon hears me say this, he'll say, "Not in New York, big boy." And I guess you're right. But we have seen very curious calls made by official scores time to time, which benefit home team.
Well, and these two guys, Sanchez and Cabrera, the way the two of them are swinging the bat in September, this is probably going to go down to the wire. They're looking at that individual award. 3-2 pitch again. It's foul again down the right field line. So again, it holds full 3-2.
It looked like he was right on that fastball, though. And Willie Randolph will watch Traxel very carefully, because now we're at the point in the game where really Traxel's already done his job, giving them that 6 very strong innings. And anytime Willie feels that he's starting to lose something, if it comes to that, he'll go to the bullpen now.
Again, the payoff pitch to Cabrera. Line drive into center field, a base hit. So Cabrera, after fouling off a few pitches, finally finds one that he can keep in play. And he's aboard to start this 7th inning.
I think you could kind of see that hit coming, the way that Cabrera was fouling those pitches away, in particular that last one.
So the bullpen remains quiet, although Guy Conti is walking over to the phone. There's one man on and nobody out, and Josh Willingham, the batter. Again, it's 4-0 Mets. They scored 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 5th, and 1 in the 6th inning. And now Josh Willingham, who struggled in Atlanta this weekend. In fact, he was 0 for 9 against the Braves. He flied out to right his first time up, but then doubled the left center field his last time up. Cabrera, not really a threat to run, takes his lead off first. It's a short lead. And the pitch to Willingham. Fastball inside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. And Guillermo Mota starts to loosen now in the bullpen for the Mets. And with all the pitchers that Willie Randolph has at his disposal, he can afford to pitch Mota, pitch Roberto Hernandez, get Aaron Heilman ready to pitch as well. As we are here in the 7th inning. 1-0 pitch to Willingham, inside and tight, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. And command-wise, and this is the most trouble that Traxel seems to have had, not being able to put away Cabrera, who's a very good hitter. And now the first 2 pitches going out of the strike zone to Willingham.
Don't forget, Traxel has not started. This is in 8 days now. He last started on the 10th, and he only pitched 2 2/3 innings. In that game against the Dodgers, 4 1/3 in his start before that, which was 6 days earlier. So he hasn't pitched that much lately.
He drops to the belt, the 2-0. That's a strike on the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Willie Randolph is going to stay with the 6-man rotation. Although now, with the Mets not really having an off day till the end of the year, it's going to clog it up, but it's not going to clog it up the way this last turn was clogged up because of the off day. Dave Williams has been set aside for the time being. Duca sets up outside, the 2-1 pitch. Up high, ball 3. It's 3-1.
I do not think Willie is going to wait very long here in the 7th inning.
Well, Mota looks like he's almost ready to come into the ball game. And Willie wants to make sure, too, that his team does keep this lead and win this game. A 4-0 lead here in the 7th inning. The 3-1 pitch. Line drive foul into the seats. Look out. The ball was smoked down the 3rd base line. And there's some cat who's hurtling over a handful of fans trying to get that ball. The count is full 3-2.
I think Willie wants this game more than any person in this ballpark tonight, so he doesn't have to hear all those same questions that he's been hearing since Friday night in Pittsburgh.
Well, we talked about how light he was over the weekend, and he was joking even more today. So 3-2 the count. Cabrera being held on by Delgado. Nobody out here at the top of the 7th inning. Steve Traxel rocks and comes ready, working from the stretch. Here's the payoff pitch. Line drive, caught by David Wright at 3rd. It wasn't hit sharply enough to entice Cabrera to lean off the first base bag. But there's one man down as David gets it back to Steve Traxel. And the batter is Mike Jacobs. Jacobs is 0 for 2. He's flied out to right center field, and he has gone down looking on strikes. That was a big part of the game, too, when he went down looking on strikes in the top of the 4th inning. Because the Mets led it 2-0, and there was a runner on second base. And Traxel was able to sneak somehow a fastball right by Jacobs. He'll tap the plate one time, stands away from the plate from the left side. And now Delgado is going to play behind Cabrera, but it's just really in the back pocket of Cabrera, so close that they can still maintain the conversation. Traxel sent again the pitch. Hit on the ground toward first, under the diving glove of Delgado into right field, a base hit. Cabrera round second, holds there. And Mike Jacobs is aboard with a single. And the Marlins now have runners on first and second with one man down. And it brings Cody Ross to the plate. Let's pause 10 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Bottom of the sixth in Toronto. Blue Jays lead the Yankees 3-2. Monday Night Football, Steelers and Jaguars scoreless in the first. More later on WFAN New York.
Hello, with Howie Rose. I'm Tom McCarthy, live from Shea Stadium. 4-0 Mets, top of the seventh inning. One man down. Willie Randolph heads out to the mound, takes the baseball from Steve Traxel, and he's going to get a standing ovation as he exits the game. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all in Mystic Country, Connecticut. With a one-man down here at the top of the seventh inning and two runners on base, Willie Randolph wasted no time. He went to the mound to get Steve Traxel, and he called for Guillermo Mota, who's getting set for his 13th ball game with the Mets. He has been very strong in a Mets uniform, 2-0 with an ERA of 0.71. In fact, this after going 1-3 with an ERA of 6.21 with the Cleveland Indians. And Mota now with a chance to face his former team, the Florida Marlins. He rubs up the baseball and then climbs to the top of the hill, and he will face Cody Ross, who's 0 for 2. He is grounded out and he is popped out. It's 4-0 Mets here at the top of the seventh inning. And Mota, with his big frame, bends in and gets his signs from LaDuca as the runners lead off. And the pitch to Cody Ross. Fastball, that's in there for strike. It's 0-1. Mota, during his 12 outings with the Mets, has shown a fantastic fastball, which is something that we've been used to watching him over the years, but also a very good changeup. A changeup he has controlled and has pitched and has thrown at very timely points in the count. Ross is ready, the 0-1. Hit in the air, right side of the diamond. Valentine makes the call right away. The infield fly rule is called as well by the umpires, and Valentine makes the catch right on the edge of the infield grass. And there's two men down. That's a good pitch from Guillermo Mota, changeup. It came in at 86 miles an hour. And now with two outs, Alfredo Amenziga is the batter. In Philadelphia, they've gone to the top of the seventh inning, and the Cubs are hanging on to a 3-run lead. It's 9-6. Here the Mets have rallied behind two home runs from Jose Valentine, a 2-run shot and a solo shot. And also an RBI single by Cliff Floyd. They lead it 4-0 with two runners on base and two men down. David Wright, the third baseman, a step behind the bag, shaded off the line. Boy, the outfield is shallow in left and in center. The pitch to Amenziga. Popped up, foul territory. This will find the seats. And the count is 0-1. Amenziga is grounded out to David Wright, a soft chopper toward the Mets' third baseman. He's also flied out softly to Sean Green in right field. Shea Stadium is packed tonight, although there are seats in the upper deck down the left and right field lines. Lower level is filled, so is the loge, and just about all of the mezzanine. The fans have crowded into Shea to see if the Mets can clinch the National League East. The 0-1 to Amenziga. Changeup, that's a strike on the outside corner. Oh, no balls, 2 strikes. So now 0-2 to Amenziga. Just his batting gloves, claps his hands one time, and just as he does that, the fans come to their feet here at Shea. David Wright again plays a step behind the bag at third. Delgado way back behind the bag at first. Jacobs leads off first. Cabrera off second. Mota's ready. He comes set, the 0-2. Fastball outside, it just missed. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Actually, I said fastball, but that was another changeup from Mota.
Of course, he throws his changeup harder than a good percentage of pitchers throw their fastball. He throws his changeup in the mid-80s.
He's only thrown that 1 fastball so far in the 2 batters he's faced here. He's ready again. Amenziga, an open stance from the left side. Now the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a fly ball toward left field. Cliff Floyd had him played perfectly. He settles under it, makes the one-handed grab, And the inning is over. Guillermo Mota pops the bubble as he walks off the mound. And Steve Traxel, the Mets, and Guillermo Mota are through the 7th inning. After 6. Bottom of the 7th inning, the Mets are on top 4-0. And Randy Messenger is the new pitcher for the Florida Marlins. He comes on for Raniel Pinto. Third pitcher used in tonight's game. Pinto went an inning. He allowed 1 run. He came on in relief of Brian Moore. The first pitch to Valentin, taken for a strike. It's 0-1. Valentin tonight has 2 home runs. He's got a 2-run shot and a solo shot. He now has 17 homers on the year. The 0-1 fastball. That's a strike on the outside corner. It's no balls and 2 strikes. Valentin batting left-handed against the right-hander Messenger. The 0-2 pitch. Fastball hit foul behind home plate. And the count holds no balls and 2 strikes. Valentin has hit 3 home runs in the game 2 other times. The last time was in 2003 as a member of the White Sox against the Kansas City Royals. He taps the plate a couple of times. The infield plays in the full. The 0-2 pitch. Inside and tight. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Messenger's a big guy. He stands 6 feet 6 inches. And he does throw hard. He's got a pretty good slider as well. On the year, he's 2-7 with an ERA of 6.52. The 1-2 pitch to Valentin. Swing and a miss and a changeup. And Jose is down on strikes, and there's the first out here in the 7th inning. Guillermo Mota, who was in the on-deck circle, has been called back, and now Ricky Leday is going to be sent up as a pinch hitter. So with Aaron Heilman up and loosening in the bullpen, Ricky Leday is going to get a chance to take some hacks. He had a double in yesterday's game against the Pirates. It's been a tough road for Ricky as a pinch hitter for the Mets, but despite the loss yesterday, he did have a double off the right field wall. So the infield plays in the full. Messenger ready again. The pitch. Curve ball. That's taken for a strike. It's 0-1. Cabrera way up the line at third. The 0-1. Swung on it, missed. And Leday looked like he was awfully fooled on that pitch from Randy Messenger. Well, the Mets back in 1988 clinched the division championship on September 22nd against the Phillies. 0-2 pitch to Leday, fouled off behind home plate. The count holds 2 strikes. In 86, of course, they did it on September 17th against the Cubs. Back in 73, it wasn't until October 1st as they defeated the Cubs in game 1 of a doubleheader. The 0-2 pitch to Leday. Curveball hit back toward the middle. To his left is Ramirez. He has it, spins behind the second base bag, throws to first. In time to get Leday. And there's 2 men down here in the 7th, and that leaves things for Jose Reyes. And of course, in 1969, the Mets shut out the Cardinals 6-0 here at Shea. Well, now they've got a 4-0 lead here in the 7th inning. And things are set up perfectly for Willie Randolph because he got Mota to get the final 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Now he's got Heilman warming up in the bullpen for the 8th, and looming in the background, Billy Wagner. Reyes is 1 for 3, takes a fastball for a strike. It's 0-1.
And I think we would see Billy Wagner in the 8th inning tonight if the situation merits.
Cabrera, the third baseman, plays in on the grass, the 0-1. Another fastball, another strike to Reyes. It's 0-2.
Billy hasn't had much work lately. That would put him in a position where if there's any problems in the 8th, call on him.
0-2 pitch, curveball, lined into right field, a base hit. So Jose Reyes is aboard with his second hit of the night. The first one was a bunt single in front of the plate. And this one a sharp single to right. So the Mets have a base runner with 2 men down, and it brings Paul LaDuca to the plate.
I would think we might see Reyes try to steal a base here against this big right-hander. Randy Messenger is not as quick as some others getting the ball to the plate.
Yeah, very deliberate is Messenger. Obviously, he works from the stretch at all times, even with nobody on. So he's used to the fact that he's working from this position. But he's very deliberate, very slow to the dish. Reyes does not have a big lead. He draws a throw, and Jacobs doesn't even apply a tag. LaDuca tonight is 0 for 3. Lined out to short. He's grounded out. And he's ended an inning on a ground out, fielder's choice. His batting average for the year is .313. Middle infielders hang back. Messenger ready. Here's the pitch. Fastball down low. It's 1-0. And Reyes right now is showing no signs that he's going to take off. He doesn't even have that big of a lead. His lead foot is right at the edge of the cutout, Howie.
Could be a clever ruse. LaDuca took a pitch for him. Let's say it didn't go, though. And you're right, the lead's not big.
1-0 pitch. Down low. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
I'm surprised.
Maybe that steal of third quieted him a little bit. I doubt it. He's a kid who never, ever lacks for confidence, particularly with his wheels. He has 57 stolen bases on the year. Olivo's got a good arm. He sets up outside. The 2-0 pitch. Hit in the air. Shallow left field. Backing up Ramirez, the shortstop. He gallops a few times, settles under it, makes the catch, and the inning is over. So the Mets are retired here in the 7th. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. We head to the 8th. It's 4-0 New York on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio.
Well, we head to the top of the 8th inning. It's 4-0 New York, and the Mets are 6 outs away here at Shea from picking up their 5th NL East championship. And to take you the rest of the way and hopefully take you to a divisional title, here's Howie Rose.
All right, Tom, thank you. And, of course, there still are the events at Citizens Bank Park to be aware of. As we look at the out-of-town scoreboard, it's brought to you by the New York Lottery. Play New York Lotto or Mega Millions today. You could win millions. Hey, you never know. But first, Aaron Heilman faces Miguel Olivo to start the 8th. First pitch fastball in on his hands, and he fouls it on the ground over to the Mets dugout. Well, that clinches it. This guy will swing at anything on the first pitch.
He's Randall Simon recreated.
Really? I mean, Heilman practically hit him in the fingers with it. But he was up there hacking. And the count, no balls and 1 strike. Olivo 0 for 2. And the 0-1 from Heilman. Change up outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Heilman makes his 70th appearance of the year. Most on the staff. He's 4-5. He was the losing pitcher Saturday night in Pittsburgh. 3.73 ERA. The 1-1 pitch. Change up, swung on and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, now, if you've been waiting to hear about that game in Philadelphia, they're in the bottom of the 7th, still a little behind this one. And the Cubs continue to lead 9-6. Aramis Ramirez has homered twice for the Cubs. Jose Hernandez has a grand slam for the Phillies. The 1-2 to Olivo. Bouncing ball foul up the third base side. So it's still 1-2. Also in that game, Juan Pierre and Scott Moore have homered for the Cubs. They're in the bottom of the 7th, 9-6 Chicago. Atlanta leads Washington 3-1. Last of the 7th inning in Washington. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Olivo. Fastball foul back to the screen. And it's still 1-2. Houston leads Cincinnati 4-0. Top of the 5th in Houston behind Roy Oswalt, who started against Kyle Loesch. Jeff Jenkins has hit his 15th home run. Milwaukee leads St. Louis 1-0. Bottom of the 4th in Milwaukee. Now the 1-2 pitch to Olivo. And a fastball outside and low, 2-2. Well, the Giants got 3 runs in the top of the 1st inning in Denver. And the Rockies scored 6 in the bottom half. Colorado leading 6-3 as they go to the 2nd inning. The 2-2 pitch. Change-up looped over short, and that's going to fall in for a base hit. Beltran over to get it. Big turn by Olivo, and the Marlins put the leadoff man on here in the 8th inning. Now they go to their bench, and Joe Borchert, a switch hitter, will be the pinch hitter for Randy Messenger. So, change-up pitchers will live and die with that pitch. And sometimes you'll get flukes off the end of the bat. That's what Olivo did. Find his way on, leading off here in the 8th inning. 2nd straight inning and the 2nd time in this game. The Marlins have had the leadoff man on. So here's Borchert, switch hitter, batting left against Heilman. Infield looks for 2, the first pitch. Swing and a miss, a weak swing and a changeup. 0-1. Borchert batting .225, 9 homers, 26 RBIs. He's 10 for 38 with a home run as a pinch hitter. Outfield straight away against him. Heilman from the set. Ready and delivers 0-1. And a changeup low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dodgers and Padres get underway at 10:10 Eastern Time. Jake Peavy against Brad Penny. The Dodgers at the moment second in the National League West, a half game behind the Padres. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Borchard. And it's hit hard into the glove of Delgado on one hop. Fires to second, one. Reyes to first. Double play. 3-6-3. Delgado with a tremendous pick on a hard hit one hopper. He went to his knees, played the short hop. Reyes threw a P back to first base to get Borchard by a step and a half. 2 men out, nobody on. Well, it's just a reflex play for Delgado. There are balls often hit that way to his right that he doesn't get to. He doesn't have a quick first step. We know that. But he got the glove down instantly. And now the bases are empty with 2 out, and Hanley Ramirez will be the batter. Ramirez 0 for 3. 4-0 New York in the 8th. The first pitch, he runs up to bunt, takes a strike, 0-1. Ramirez has grounded to short. Reyes made a good play to take a hit away in the first. Grounded to third and struck out looking. Heilman from the first base side of the rubber ready. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and it's in for a called strike, 0-2. And this big crowd will come to its feet here at Shea. The Mets 4 outs away from clinching the National League East. 0-2 to Ramirez. Heilman delivers. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Heilman fires a fastball past Ramirez, and that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. Middle of the 8th at Shea. It's the Mets 4 and the Marlins 0 on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Fastball high, 1-0. A lot of these people are standing. The Mets have been in the postseason twice since they last won the Eastern Division in 1988. But those were wild cards. The 1-0, fastball popped up foul outside third, 1-1. And clearly, even though pennant races have virtually been legislated out of baseball thanks to the wild card, there is nothing like winning your division outright on the field. Remember, these guys go to spring training, the pitchers and catchers anyway, in the middle of February. Here's the 1-1 to Beltran. Fastball inside, 2-1. And every play that they make in spring training, every drill, every pitch during the regular season is designed to get them into a position to play championship baseball. 2-1 to Beltran. Curveball swung on and missed, 2-2. And it is impossible to sit in this seat tonight, and in particular in this booth, which is named in his honor, and not think of our late colleague Bob Murphy. The 2-2 to Beltran. Fastball hit in the air to deep left field. Back goes Willingham. Will have room in front of the track. He makes the catch, 1 away. Well, Beltran making a bid to tie Todd Huntley's franchise record with his 41st homer, but that's the first out. And I think especially of Bob Murphy tonight, because no one loved the big moments that were delivered by the New York Mets more than Murph. 1962 until his retirement at the end of the 2003 season, he was there for all the big plays, all of the clinchings of the championships. Here is Delgado and a curveball low, 1-0. And so, Murph, this night's for you, as it is for Lindsey Nelson. And, of course, Ralph Kiner, who were the originals back in 1962. A 1-0 to Delgado, fouled back to the screen. A fastball, 1-1. Who could not have grown up in this town and paid any attention to the New York Mets and had any affinity at all for the New York Mets without having very strong feelings for Lindsey Nelson, Bob Murphy, and Ralph Kiner. 1-1 to Delgado. Now the pitch, fastball outside, 2-1. Delgado in the game is flied to center, grounded to second, and struck out swinging. Still in the top of the eighth in Philadelphia, the Cubs leading the Phillies 9-6. And there's quite the police presence here tonight as well. Pre-stops 2-1 to Delgado, swung on and missed the fastball 2-2. The last time the fans made it onto the field for a clincher was the division clincher in 1986. And they tore this field up. And Frank Cashin, the general manager at the time, was livid. Yes, it had been something of a tradition dating back to 69 and 73. 2-2 on the way. Curveball, he tried to hold his swing, and he did, according to Doug Eddings, the third base ump. So it's 3-2 to Delgado. And Frank threw up his arms that night and said, we're playing for a championship on this field, and now it's all messed up. And they did the best they could to resod it. Brown's crew did a fabulous job in getting the park playable, never mind for the playoffs, but for the very next day. They had a day game after clinching at night. Payoff pitch to Delgado, hit hard on one hop to Ugla, standing in the right field grass 20 feet out behind the dirt. He throws out Delgado, 2 men away. And from that point on, the Mets worked with the city to ensure that there would be no damage done to the field after any subsequent clinching. And so when the Mets won the World Series in 1986, of course they won the pennant on the road, the police on horseback provided a very visible presence and deterrent to keep the fans from running out on the field. And so you happen to be listening right now in the ballpark, and you're thinking about maybe getting onto the field, forget it. The police will make sure you don't. Just stay in your seats. And if the Mets can secure 3 outs in the 9th inning, just enjoy the party. So here's David Wright. And the first pitch, fastball in for a called strike at the belt, 0-1. David 0 for 3 tonight. In the 9th inning, the Marlins will be scheduled to send up some toughies, Dan Ugla, Miguel Cabrera, and Josh Willingham. The 0-1 breaking ball in the dirt bounds off of Olivo and is one-handed by David Wright. But David's making bare hand plays every year now. I don't know if he'll get onto the national highlights with that.
Yeah, there's no SB, I don't think, for that, unless
Now,
there's an umpire's SB that's given out.
Now it's 1-1 to Wright. Billy Wagner, even though it's not a save situation, is getting ready in the bullpen. And, you know, he's got to be feeling some butterflies. Here's the 1-1. Curveball hit on the ground up the middle. Base hit going into center field. And the Mets have their 8th hit of the ball game. Before Cliff Floyd hits, we'll pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Monday Night Football, second quarter in Jacksonville. Steelers and Jaguars are scoreless. Steve Summers follows the Mets on WFAN New York.
Howie Rose, Tom McCarthy with you at Shea. 2 out, last of the 8th. David Wright at first. The Mets 4, the Marlins nothing. Floyd drove in the 4th run with a 6th inning single. Reesop delivers. Curveball hit on the ground to second. Right at Ugla. He scoops it up, throws to first in time. Side retired. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. The Mets are 3 outs away from pumping the corks. At the end of 8, it's the Mets 4 and the Marlins nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sport Radio 66.
We go to the top of the 9th inning here at Shea. The Mets 3 outs away from clinching the National League's Eastern Division Championship. They lead the Marlins 4-0. Billy Wagner faces Dan Ugla to start the 9th. The crowd standing. The first pitch. Fastball in for a called strike. 0-1. It is not a save situation for Billy. It's his 66th appearance. He's 3-2 with a 2.14 earned run average. Wagner with an 0-1. And it's taken low, a slider that bounds off of Loduca and back to the backstop. And the count 1-1. Now, again, it's not a save situation. Billy is second in the National League in saves. He has 38, 1 less than Trevor Hoffman. They're chanting, "Let's go Mets." 1-1 to Ugla. Fastball high, 2 balls, 1 strike.
And Howie, he's been so good since the All-Star break. I know there's been a lot of buzz the last couple of days about the Cy Young. Billy laughs at that because he still says he doesn't feel like he's pitching his best baseball right now.
It'll be a 2-1 to Ugla. Wagner ready now the pitch. And a fastball popped up right side of the infield, slicing towards the line. Valentine calling on the grass, makes the catch. One man out of the ninth inning. So Wagner picks up the first one. And now Cabrera. The anticipation grows that much deeper. The Mets have led the National League East virtually wire to wire. Not exactly wire to wire. They did find themselves a half game out after losing the second game of the year to the Washington Nationals in 10 innings. They won the next day and have led the National League East ever since. Cabrera, 1 for 2 with a walk. Wagner's first pitch. Fastball high and tight, 1-0. Cabrera walked, rounded to second, and singled to center. Steve Traxel was marvelous for 6 1/3, giving up 3 hits and, of course, no runs, walking 1, striking out 3. Outfield straightaway against Cabrera. Wagner to the belt, the 1-0. And a fastball inside, ball 2. A lot of light bulbs popping with each Wagner pitch right now. Of course, even if he gets Cabrera with any given pitch here, that's only the second out. So I guess somebody's trying to build a scrapbook with each out here in the ninth inning. Here's the 2-0 pitch. And a fastball in for a belt high strike. It's 2-1 to Cabrera. And remember, the Marlins lost such a difficult game yesterday. You wonder what kind of toll it's taken on them, as they are on the fringes now of the wild card race. Less than 2 weeks to go in the season. They're 4 back with 3 teams in front of them. Now the 2-1 pitch. And a slider inside, ball 3. So 3-1 to Cabrera. You love to face him this way with a 4-run lead and the bases empty. 46,729. The paid attendance here at Shea tonight. 3 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Wagner delivers, and a fly ball, shallow right center. Beltran over with Green. Beltran makes the catch on the run. And the Mets are 1 out away from a celebration. 2 out, nobody on. The Mets are all up on the top step of the dugout. Used to be a little easier to burst out onto the field before they put those screens in. Now you either have to find an opening or hop over them. And the fans are being asked not to hop over any railings and to stay in the stands. There are mounted police, very visible in the Mets bullpen in right field to keep the fans in the stands. Josh Willingham, a right-hand batter, is up. Wagner to the belt. His first pitch, way inside, a fastball at his feet. 1 ball and no strikes. The scoreboard says Chicago 9, Philadelphia 6 in the bottom of the 8th in Philadelphia. 1 more out here, that will not matter at all. Willingham waiting in the batter's box. Wagner ready. The 1-0 pitch. Swing and a fly ball to left field. Backing up Floyd. He's there. Put it in the book. The New York Mets have won the National League Eastern Division Championship, and the party is underway. They're mobbing Billy Wagner right behind the pitcher's mound. Here comes the Mets out of the bullpen. Everybody emptying out of the dugout. Billy Wagner is being mobbed, but so is Willie Randolph. He is being embraced by his coaches. He's hugging the trainers. Everybody is celebrating in their own way. The players out on the field, the staff in front of the dugout, and the fans in the stands here at Shea Stadium. For the 5th time in the history of the New York Mets, they have won the championship of the Eastern Division of the National League. Willie Randolph is a championship manager in his 2nd year as a big league skipper. He points to his wife Gretchen in the stands, pumps his fist, and now begins embracing his players. Paul LaDuca was the first one to get to Billy Wagner, and before you knew it, all of the Mets were surrounding Billy. And right now they continue hugging and congratulating each other, and it was inevitable. If it wasn't tonight, it would have been tomorrow or the next night. But after 3 games in Pittsburgh, Tom, where the Mets had a chance to clinch it on their own and failed to do so, they're ready to let loose. And as they finish their hugs and their back slaps on the field, they'll pop the corks and spray some champagne in the clubhouse.
Well, there was a very sly smile from Willie Randolph before the start of the ball game when he talked about the chance to celebrate in front of the home crowd. People even joked that his family was wishing that it would take until tonight that they would do that so they would get a chance to see him celebrate his first National League East championship as the manager of the New York Mets. Well, smiles abound all around, from David Wright to Jose Reyes to Carlos Beltran to Paul Lo Duca and the rest as they got a chance to greet each other individually and then collectively out behind the mound as they were able to pick up the National League East Divisional Championship. And I guess the 3 days in Pittsburgh were worth the wait.
Evidently, certainly the fans here think so. Pedro Martinez was the first Met to leave the field. He trotted into the dugout, waving one finger on each hand into the air. And now the rest of the Mets begin to file off of the field and into the clubhouse. And who's waiting for him downstairs but Ed Coleman? Eddie?
Been waiting 13 years for this, B. Long time.
A heck of a long time, Stevie. I'll tell you what, that was as good a game as I've seen you pitch not only this year, but in the past. You were aggressive, you went after people, and I think you relaxed a little bit before you went out there.
Yeah, some guy cornered me on the plane, said, hey, effing relax, would ya? I'm like, all right, I'll try that, but, 8 days off, I was a little nervous. I didn't want to be too strong, but I came out early, I was locating well, and I think that extra, strength carried me late in and still having something late in the game.
You had 68 pitches through 5, 78 through 6. I mean, I guess the Cabrera at bat maybe took a little bit out of you there, huh?
I think it was like 12 pitches or something like that, and I'm like, God, put one in play. Yeah, I think, I would have been able to finish that inning, but you know what, this is what it's all about.
I know you have waited an awful long time for this to pitch in the postseason. Do you think that you stated as eloquent a case as you can with this effort tonight?
All I can do is pitch and execute. I mean, obviously it's going to come down to who we're playing. I help badly out. This is good for me to pitch the postseason, but, hopefully tonight helps. I want to put those last 2 starts behind me. I got a couple more here. I need to finish strong.
If you can do that, then I think you'll be pitching in the postseason. Congratulations, Steve.
Hope so. Thanks.
Say hello to the people. All right, back up to you, Howie.
All right, Eddie, stay dry if you can. It's not easy dodging those drops of champagne, but the Mets are going to be spilling a lot more than they drink, I would imagine. And I can probably guarantee one other thing, Tom. The starting lineup tomorrow night is going to look a lot different from the one we saw tonight.
Well, I think we got an indication of that even on Saturday when Willie Randolph was waiting to see what the Phillies were doing in their day game before he actually listed his starting lineup for the night game. And when he saw that the Phillies were going to win their game on Saturday, then he inserted his lineup and inserted the regulars into that lineup. So, yeah, I think you're right about that, Howie. I think that you may have some changes in tomorrow's lineup as the Mets take on the Marlins in the second of this 4-game series.
Well, the fans have been great. 10,000 of them bought their tickets after the Mets lost yesterday, seizing the opportunity to be a part of the celebration. And as we mentioned, the paid crowd, 46,729 all. Every one of them stayed in the stands, understood that times have changed, and fans are no longer welcome on the field to take part in the celebration that too often in the past has turned destructive. And so the fans who are here to party are partying right now. Paul Lo Duca is pumping his fist in celebration at the fans. They're yelling, Duke, Duke, which is his name, his nickname. You've got your Duke and you've got your Duke A. And Duke was just saluted with his cry from the fans as he heads into the dugout, down the steps, and off to the party. But Floyd caught the last out, jumped very gingerly on those painful Achilles heels, but he and his teammates are feeling no pain right now as the Mets are celebrating the National League's Eastern Division Championship. We'll be back with a whole lot more in a moment on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
It's all about the best in American and German engineering and design. Like the best in style and performance, Chrysler 300C, the most awarded new car ever. One of the best in safety, the 5-star crash test rated Chrysler Pacifica, with more safety and security features than any vehicle in its class. The best in value, unique and fun to drive PT Cruiser, a consumer guide Best Buy. And now, until September 30th, well-qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 72 months on a new Chrysler Town & Country with exclusive stow-and-go seating and storage and 5-star crash test rating. Or well-qualified returning Daimler Chrysler lessees can lease a Town & Country Touring for $299 a month for 27 months with $14.99 due at signing. Tax, title, and license extra. Based on automotive awards won with an introductory model year. When equipped with side curtain airbags. Excludes other Daimler Chrysler vehicles. 0% APR financing for 72 months equals $13.89 for $1,000 finance for well-qualified buyers through Chrysler Financial with 10% down. Must take delivery from dealer stock. Call 888-CHRYSLER for lease details. Offer requires dealer participation and a lease through Chrysler Financial. Must take retail delivery by 10/2/06.
Like most men, there are some things my husband just doesn't want to talk about.
Like prostate problems. But when I learned 1 in 3 men will have them.
That got him talking.
And thinking. Enough so that I switched to One-A-Day Men's.
One-A-Day Men's Health is a complete multivitamin plus lycopene, which Harvard study suggests may help prostate health.
Some things are healthy to talk about.
No, let's talk about feelings.
Hey, one thing at a time.
One-A-Day Men's, the multivitamin with more for your health. Used with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables.
Confidence, performance, mileage. Don't give up a thing. For quality Cooper tires, see Sean, Tom, Jim, or Wayne at Dean Tire in Morristown, or Anthony or Mario at Eastern State Tire in West Nyack.
Howie Rose, Tom McCarthy with you at a Jubilant Shea Stadium, the scene of the 5th National League Eastern Division clinching on the part of the New York Mets, who have shut out the Florida Marlins 4-0. And, you know, it was still a little tense in those first couple of innings because the Mets weren't hitting, and we mentioned at the time how Jose Valentin relaxed, I think, not only the Mets, but even their pitchers and the fans and everybody with a 2-run home run that put the Mets ahead. And tonight, Mets Nikon camera players of the game are all of the New York Mets for clinching the National League East. At the end of the season, the player who is named most often will be named the Nikon Camera Player of the Year. Nikon at the heart of the image. The 5th division title for the Mets, and the 4th that they have clinched on this field.
Well, offensively, Jose Valentin's 2 home runs, a 2-run shot, which was in the 3rd inning, a solo shot, which was in the 5th inning. That was part of the story. And then, of course, Steve Traxel pitching 6 1/3 outstanding innings of baseball. He allowed 3 base hits, 2 in his final inning of work, 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. He got the win. He's now 15-7. The bullpen, which has been stellar the entire year, stellar once again with 2 2/3 scoreless in relief of Steve Traxel. Meanwhile, Brian Moeller allowed only 3 runs, but over 5 innings of work and 5 base hits, he suffered the loss. He fell to 7-9. So the Mets have clinched the National League East Division Championship as they have upended the Florida Marlins. They are now 91-58 on the year. Let's check in one more time with Ed Coleman. Eddie.
All right, Tommy, thanks very much. Getting a hug from Jerry Manuel, Willie Randolph. I'll give you one there, too. Hey, congratulations. Congratulations. How's this going right now?
Oh, man, this is, it's really so tough to describe. It always is. These guys have given me their heart and soul all year, and, you know, it's really emotional for me, but, you know, we wanted to do it right. We did it at home. You know, we made it a little bit interesting for a second there. Everyone wondering what we're going to do it, but these guys never give up, Eddie, man. I feel so good about them. And to feel this moment, and then we talked about that, to do it on the field where this bond starts right now, hopefully for years and years to come. We give these Met fans, who are the greatest fans in the world, you know, all the happiness they want. They've been behind us all year. The energy tonight was great. See that? I mean, it was unbelievable tonight, the way the people came out for us. So I'm just happy for those guys out there. I've challenged them all year long, but we've got a lot more challenge to go.
You know, there's a lot of your players have said all season long that you have kept them on an even keel. You never let them get too down. You never let them get too up. You'd hit them when they need to be hit, and you'd caress them when they needed to be caressed and give them a pat in the back. Listen, that's the way to do it. You've done.
Love them, but they know that I want to give them all my knowledge and what I know about the game. You know, we want to be winners, you know, and I just feel like we have a room for those guys out there who know how to win. We just need to be taught how to do it and the way you handle yourself, the way you get after it every day. Spring training last year, we set the tone and we wanted to keep it going. You know, we're here pretty quick, but you know what? We're here. We're going to keep going with it, man. I'm just so proud of these guys. My coaching staff has been outstanding, and right now I'm just overwhelmed with excitement because it just feels good to come back home and do this.
At this moment, do you think about all those interviews that you took that you didn't get?
Well, they do kind of pass your mind real quick, but you know what? The good Lord has a plan for everybody, Eddie, and I believe this is where I belong. In my heart, I felt like, it was going to be right for me at the end, and what better place to do is to come back home where you grew up, where you played for the team. Whether it's Yankee ties or not, I've learned a lot from those guys over there, the great teams that I've had over there, but this is my team now. And I just feel so good about where these guys are going to go because they give me their heart, soul, and we're trying to build our own piece of the pie to get our legacy going.
Definitely got your stamp on it, no question. Go get some bubbly. Thanks, Willie. Willie Randolph. And we'll move out here into the corridor if we can and try to head into the clubhouse, Matt. It's kind of mobbed right now, so maybe we'll kick it back upstairs to you. When we get in there, we'll get it done. Tommy, back to you.
All right, Eddie, thank you very much, and congratulations to Willie Randolph winning a championship as the manager of the New York Mets after winning championships with the New York Yankees as a player. That's where he learned, as he said, after one season with the Pittsburgh Pirates, or 30 games with the Pittsburgh Pirates and a divisional championship in 1975. It was on to the New York Yankees, where he was not only an all-star but also was able to get to the World Series in 1976 and 77 and 78, and then beyond that as well. And then, of course, coming on to manage the New York Mets and winning his first championship, his divisional championship, as a Major League manager. 4-0 the final score. The Mets defeated the Marlins. They won the NL East. We'll be back with the totals and much more from Shea Stadium on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
The Mets have defeated the Marlins 4-0 to clinch the National League's Eastern Division Championship. Ed Coleman is in a jam-packed Mets clubhouse right now. Is it tough getting from player to player? Is everyone surrounded? Eddie, can you hear me?
All right, Howie, I think you sent it back down here. It's breaking up a little bit, but Carlos Delgado, welcome to the postseason.
Thank you. This is great. This is awesome. I've been waiting for a long time for this. I had the opportunity to go to playoffs. This is awesome.
Carlos, when you Juan Lopez showering him with bubbly. This is the wettest I've seen you in a while, but it's got to be the happiest I've seen you in a while, too.
This is good. This is a great feeling. I mean, like I say, every athlete dreams to be in the postseason, and this is the entry pass right here. We want to work, try to make it all the way.
Carlos, I was watching you out there. Tell me what was running through your head. You're listening to the crowd. It was building. The incitement was building. Tell me what was going through your head then.
Well, the fans were awesome tonight. There was a lot of energy, electricity was unbelievable. I mean, but you couldn't lose focus of what was going on. You wanted to focus on the game, try to get it done on the field. Obviously, you get excited and say anticipation start building up, but we didn't want to get ahead of ourselves until the 27th out.
Well, you didn't get too excited. There was a nice pick on the 3-6-3 there, and when you go down to get that ball, you got to pretend that you know it's going to be there. Instead of looking so surprised.
Well, I saw it going in my glove, and you know what? And I had a clear line to hit Jose in the chest, so I was able to get the ball up in the air, and Jose did the rest.
Carlos, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Carlos Delgado. Let's see if we can move over here and find Roberto Hernandez. And here he is, back over here. Bert, back to the playoffs for you.
Well, it's exciting right now, and not only for a kid that grew up in Manhattan rooting for the Mets and actually getting to wear this uniform. It was an honor for me to wear the 86 Mets uniform when we came back home a few weeks ago, but this is everything I dreamed about, and hopefully it'll continue to, the dream will not end right here. It continues, and hopefully we get that World Series.
You know what's funny? When you left after last season, you kind of had a feeling that at the trading deadline you'd be back in New York one way or the other, either with the other team or this team, and I think you were pretty glad you were here.
Oh, I am. I have a whole lot to thank, for Omar to bringing me back, and not only for that, also for Willie and the coaching staff, accepted me back. It's kind of hard to leave a place and then get traded back to one, and it's exciting. And the sad part, one of the major causes for this night, was traded for me and for Oliver, Xavier Nady, but we got to, somehow pull our straps together and try to fill in the void and give everything we got to bring in the champion right here in Queens.
Bert, you didn't pitch tonight, but that's as dominant a 13 pitches in yesterday's game as I've seen you throw in a long time.
I just want to go out there and give my best and also, show them that I still got a little something left
and hopefully that little something, can lead us to a World Series ring.
And the usual suspects in the postseason. There you go.
Exactly.
All right, Roberto Hernandez. Howie will move around a little bit if we can. Rick Peterson is here with us as well. Congratulations.
Thanks, Eddie. Thank you so much.
That was a pretty dominant effort by Steve Traxel, who was in search of one in a big way tonight.
Boy, it really was. I mean, he came up big for us tonight. And, it was like 3 days ago we knew Santa was coming, but it was like we left the cookies out for him 3 days in a row. We knew he was going to show up eventually. We've been good all year, so he finally came today, and Traxel came up big. And, it was really a special night for everybody involved. And this is like everybody here is part of all this. And then I'm just privileged to be part of this. I'm so thankful I had a chance to come over here, and it's the best. There's no words for it, really.
Maybe not everybody is 100% right now, but how does it feel as a pitching coach heading to the postseason with the kind of experience that you have in the rotation?
Well, it's huge. There's nothing better than people that have been there before. They know how to control those emotions and those thoughts, and that's the biggest part of it going in there, to be able to literally stay focused on one pitch at a time and one hitter at a time to execute that pitch. Sometimes you can get lost in all the icing in the postseason, but the cake is still the same. You got to execute pitches, and if you execute pitches with your normal stuff, you're going to do well.
Congratulations, Rick. Thank you. Rick Peterson. We'll keep moving around here, Howie, if we can, and keep it here. I think the champagne flowing has subdued a little bit. And Omar Minaya, yes, I do think we need to talk to Omar Minaya. Omar, I'm doing fine. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, thank you, Eddie.
And he's got his son here with him, too. It's a great moment. It's a great moment for you. There's no question about it. You have put together a team that, sometimes at the beginning of the year, some people said, hey, I'm not sure if that makes sense, but you know what? Everything's kind of fit together pretty well.
Well, I think it's a credit to the scouts, and that's what scouts do. They evaluate. We've been fortunate enough to bring in players. A lot of them have bad years, and that's a credit to the scouts and the players themselves. We had a plan. We got a plan in place still. We're still working at this plan. But it's really the players kind of came through. The fans came through this year following us. And like anything else, you're going to make moves that people may question, but that's fine. That's part of the game, and that's the beauty of our sport. We have a good group of guys. We've got some young guys, and we have to build upon what we have. So it's a good night for New York, and as a New Yorker, that's what it's about. As a general manager, you work hard to give back to your city, and we're giving back to our city, all our National League fans tonight, a victory, that division that we haven't had in 18 years. So, it's just great to be a Met fan today. It's great to be a National League fan today.
There's probably no greater indicator than the guy who was the offensive star here tonight. Jose Valentin came in, struggled mightily at the beginning of the year. And here's a guy who came off a road trip, 1 for 18, and he goes out tonight and hits 2 home runs and supplies the offense. He's been a revelation this year.
Yeah, he has been a revelation. And, the fact is that, early on in the year, we put him in a role as a pinch hitter. He wasn't doing well. I think in some way, shape, or form, we might have all doubted him. But, Tony Burns, I give him credit. Tony believed in him, and we gave him that opportunity, you know what I'm saying? And he went out there, and Willie believed in him. And, but he's a character player, and we believe in having players of character. Guys that are going to go out there when times are tough, they're going to continue to battle. And we got some battles here, Eddie, today.
I know that I know you're a believer that you're going to get things done, but did you think you'd get to the playoffs this quickly?
No, I didn't. Well, I thought this year we had a chance to be in the playoff, yes. I didn't think it was going to be the way we, the lead that we had throughout the year to be able to clinch it this early. I did not think that, no. But that being said, I don't believe that, when I saw this team, when we had that road trip on the West Coast and the way we handled it and we sustained it, I think I said we have a special team, and I think we're going to, we're going to battle, of course, the Braves, and they've been the champion of this division. But these guys, they wanted to go to war, to go out there and win every game. And look, it's just a great night tonight, and I'm so happy for what the team has done, and we'll continue to work at it.
Congratulations, Omar. Good job.
Thanks a lot, Eddie.
Omar Minaya, the general manager of the Mets, and Guillermo Motas spraying some champagne. We'll move around a little bit, Howie, if we can, and try to get to some of the principals. I'm not sure exactly where everybody is. Somebody got me back here. Oh, that's cold. See if we can work our way over to Paul LaDuca, if we can find him over here. Tom Glavine celebrating as well. And Aaron Heilman is right here. Don't go away just mere days after Notre Dame got their butt kicked all over the place. Here you are out there on the mound having a great inning. That was terrific.
Why you got to bring up such a sore subject on a happy day?
How does this, you have settled into this role. I know Saturday did not go well in Pittsburgh, but that's going to happen every now and then. But I'll tell you what, that's one of the few blips on the radar that you've had in the last 2 months, Aaron?
Well, I started to feel a lot more comfortable. We've been playing well as a team, and it gives you a lot of confidence when you're coming in, out of the bullpen, knowing that your team's going to score runs, whether we're, 1 or 2 runs down or 4 or 5 runs ahead. We know we're never out of it, and we're always going to put the pressure on the other team.
I've always thought it was a pretty good feeling for you, looking in the bullpen or looking around the bullpen and seeing what's behind you or what's coming into the game behind you, and also what's in front of you leading up to your inning as well.
Well, certainly. You got a guy like Billy Wagner behind you. He's one of the best in the business, and it gives you a lot of confidence knowing you have that safety net behind you that, hey, if something should go wrong, there's somebody back there to pick you up. And I think that's what's made our bullpen so successful is that it's not just Billy, it's everybody. From Darren Oliver and Chad Bradford, Pedro Feliciano, Heath Bell, all those guys have really stepped up and picked up where other guys have left off. One of us has a bad day, somebody else is going to pick us up.
I know you always get the changeup. You had a little high heat there tonight, too. Get the K, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. It felt a little good, and, I just wanted to go out there and throw strikes and challenge him. And, fortunately, I threw it where the bat wasn't.
Aaron, congratulations. Great job.
Thanks, Eddie.
Aaron Heilman with a terrific inning here tonight. Let's see how I am just trying to get my bearings if we can. And Carlos
Stand
Beltran,
up, big boy. Stand up.
Hold on 1 second, Howie. We'll be right with you. Carlos talking to a couple of people. Carlos Beltran here. Congratulations. You're back in the postseason. And all the people in New York want you to do is what you did when you were with Houston. If you duplicate that, everybody will be happy.
Well, it'll be great. Including myself, I'll be happy. So happy that I don't know, but I just feel very happy just being able to accomplish this, win the division. This division for many years was win by the Atlanta Braves for many years, and now we'll be able to take over, and we feel very happy because we did as a team, and it wasn't as individual, it was more as a team because we do really did a good job.
Carlos, you're a very proud person. What did this feel like to you? These fans obviously gave you a hard time last year. They loved you this year. They responded to the kind of season you had and the way that you responded back to them. How did that feel to hear that tonight and to hear the applause out on the field and as you came off the field?
It feels great, as a player, that's what you want to hear from the fans. And I just feel very happy just being able to contribute this year, being able to contribute to help the team win offensively and defensively in many ways. And I just feel proud, I do feel every time I take the field thinking that I want to get something done to win a ball game. And, this is my passion. I love to play baseball, and I just feel happy that we have received great support for our fans this year, and happy that we accomplished what we were looking for, that was win the division. Now we're looking forward to the World Series.
Carlos, you've been a lot healthier this year than you were last year, but you've been banged up a little bit too. How is the knee? How's it coming around?
Well, sore, but it doesn't matter right now. I don't care. I just very happy. I want to enjoy this day and enjoy the rest of the season and just have the opportunity to be in the playoffs. Like I said, to the guys who've never been there, it's a great feeling. It's an excitement every single day. The adrenaline is unbelievable. It's nothing quite like regular season.
And you have been there, but one guy who hasn't been and is now is one of your closest friends, Carlos Delgado.
Happy for him, not only for Carlos, for Reyes, David Wright, all those guys, they do deserve to experience what I experienced last year. Being in the postseason this year, I'm going to experience also. But, it's a great feeling, and we feel very happy and very blessed.
Congratulations, Carlos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carlos Beltran, let's see if we get the offensive hero over here, Jose Valentin, who had a huge night tonight, blasting home runs in successive at-bats. It's been an amazing year for him. I think they're playing Jose Reyes' song in the background, so we'll probably see Reyes skate through here in just a little bit. Jose does have the goggles on, though. He's got the style points, I think, tonight, Howie.
Hey, Eddie, you want to hear something cute?
Go ahead.
Already, what's the game over? Maybe a half hour, and members of the grounds crew are out stenciling in National League Eastern champions right behind the Mets logo.
All right, Howie, I'm sorry. Here's Jose Valentin. Guy Conti just initiated me to things down here. Jose, congratulations. a 1-for-18 road trip, and then you go out there. This has been the story of your season. You go out there, you don't pay any mind to it, and you blast 2 home runs to give them the win here tonight.
Well, that's why this game is so great. I mean, that's why we play the game every day. And one day is a different day. One day is a new one. And like I said, I forget, and I just let the last road trip, I just let them just forget about it. And I got something in mind. We got to do at home. Today's a new day. You got to go out there and try to get some pitcher hits. Make sure that you get some good swing on it, and I did it today.
You made a very good choice, I think, in the off-season when you talked to Tony Bernazard and Ann Omar, and you decided to come here. I think you probably like that choice right now, right?
It is. I guess I wasn't wrong, and I took the right choice. Like I said, out of all the teams that do the off-season that went to me and asked me about just going there and play, this was the one that I really wanted. Not only because of all the signings in New York and stuff like that, but this is a team that I thought they was going to give me a chance to play in the World Series. And so far, we make the first step. So hopefully this is a year for us. And like I said, not only for me, but for a lot of guys in here, they're really waiting for that time too.
I give you a lot of credit, Jose, because you kept quiet at the beginning of the year when people got down on you. This was a role that you weren't used to. You weren't used to coming off the bench and pinch hitting. You needed some at-bats. You needed some forward-batted games. And you finally got him. Willie get you in there, and you got him, and you took off from there. But you never complained about that.
No, I mean that's something that I've been through a lot of hard times and hard days in my career. And like I said, the good one's gonna come soon. It's about just wait for the right time, just wait for the opportunity, and make sure that you got it. You go out there and do your job and keep it. And that's what I was doing. I was kind of patient. I was trying to get better and better every time. Forget about the struggle that I was doing at the beginning of the year. And when my time comes, just go out there and come through and help me to win, and I did it.
Congratulations, Jose.
Hey,
you don't get no better than that man right there. How the Spooger live? The Spooger's the best.
That's right, Herb.
It's on the loose.
That's Herb's all right.
The funniest line of the year, and I swear to this, it still is the funniest line of the year. When they put this up on the scoreboard between innings all the time, they have the little clue where you have to fill in the blank, and the word was batting. Now you can say cage, glove, you can say everything. What did Cliff Floyd say?
6.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's a great position to be in. I'm just happy to be a part of the team. We got a great bunch of guys at EC, and when you come to work, you don't go past LaGuardia and wish you get on the plane. You want to come to this clubhouse and feel good about yourself. And we feel definitely like this team is destined to do something great.
Cliffy, you've got some championships already. This is a club that you can assess for me right now because they certainly have the capability of doing that.
No doubt. I was just telling the young guys, you know what? Soak all this in because in a couple of years, y'all going to be right back here doing it again. So just soak it up, bottle it up and do what you got to do. Because they're going to be back. The team is just in a great position right now. Everybody's playing great. Everybody's feeling good. You're going to have free agents climbing the walls to get over here. It's going to be a great situation. So I'm just glad I'm a part of it right now. This team is just destined to do something great, in my opinion, because, Omar put a great product on the field, not only on the field, but in the clubhouse. And that's important, because you can go out there and have an over 4 game and give up 4 or 5 home runs as a pitcher. Well, you come in here, we're going to pat you on the back so tomorrow's another day. And that's what's good about the team. You come in this clubhouse, everything is one. It's not like, one individual's going to do it for us today. We come here as a team, and that's my way. You can't even describe what that means.
The bat is coming around for you right now. How's the heel feel? How do you feel about your whole game and being able to play in the postseason?
I feel good. I told Willie, leave me out there in the ninth. And you know what? I got a ball in my back pocket. So if they want it, I ain't gonna do it like McCarthy did them. But I might get on the wrong one. I don't know. But I got the ball. So see, if I ain't went out there tonight, I wouldn't have got the ball.
Do you realize? Listen, I know you make things a lot easier for everybody else in this clubhouse, but do you realize how important you are to these guys? Do you understand that?
I know what I mean to them. My whole thing is I've been around long enough to understand how much it takes to go out there in that field every single day. And you know what? We got a great bunch of guys, older, younger, in between, whatever. And for me, it doesn't by any means take away from like any individual in here. But we all come in here and feel like, this is a team type. You know what I'm saying? This is what I home away from home. And when you have that, nobody comes in and says, well, I'm the man here, or I'm this. We all feel like, I'm going to help you. I'm not going to bite my tongue if I feel like you're doing something wrong. Nor should they bite their tongue when they feel like I'm doing something wrong. So when I come in here, I feel just
I feel like everybody's on the same page. You know what I'm saying? We all fighting for one thing, and that's to win a ball game at the end of the night. No matter if I did it, Carlos did it, Delgado did it, Wright did it. You know what I mean? And that's what it boils down to at the end of the day for me. So, you can be in some situations where, you don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day. But here, I know if I go on that field, I can come in here and feel good with my teammates.
Do me a favor when you start dancing tonight, stay off that hill. Wait,
hey, you know what? Okay.
Hey, Eddie.
Yes, Howie.
Eddie, tell Cliff that it seems that most of his teammates have just come out of the dugout and onto the field to salute the fans. They've brought some champagne bottles, and a few of them.
Again, Howie, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Many of the players, most of them, in fact, have come onto the field now.
Excellent.
Some of them are. Yeah, you got a little room now. Some of them are sporting champagne bottles. They've just sprayed each other. They sprayed a little at the fans. There's a semicircle of about 6 or 8 players who are jumping up and down and pointing their index finger at the fans, who are certainly giving them all that love back. So there's a nice little group hug going on, even though it's not a literal embrace between the fans and the players. It might just as well be.
Howie, that's great. That's great to hear. I'm glad that they're reciprocating because the fans were great tonight. There's no question about that. Here's a guy I think that would second that as well. That's Jeff Wilpon, and congratulations.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you.
This has got to be a special moment for you. And I asked Omar this, whether he thought you would be in this position this soon. What do you think?
Well, I'm glad we're in this position this soon. I mean, I would have liked to celebrate it Friday night in Pittsburgh. I would have liked to celebrate it Saturday night or even Sunday afternoon. But it wasn't meant to be, and I'm really happy for the fans. They came out and supported this team tremendously tonight. You could just feel the energy. I mean, they were ready for this. They wanted it. I think the guys performed.
What's special about this team for you?
Well, the role players, really. I mean, we got some great stars, but the role players really have made it. And if you look back on what Atlanta's done over the last 14 years, to knock them off with role players, I don't think anybody would have ever expected that.
You think your manager's done a pretty good job this year?
He's done a great job. So is Omar and the rest of his staff. And, this is a team effort.
Jeff, congratulations.
Thanks, Eddie.
Jeff Wilpon, let's throw it upstairs. We got to throw it upstairs here. We'll have to put Tom Glavine on hold. We'll send it back upstairs to Howie. And, all right, back up to you, Howie.
All right, Eddie, thanks. And some of those fans who have been reaching over the railing down the first base side adjacent to the Mets dugout have been met by some of the players who have come over. Jose Reyes is taking a victory lap. I couldn't tell, Tom, I don't know if you could, who the first player was. It looked like he actually went into the crowd.
It was David Wright, actually, that went over toward the edge of the crowd and was the first one there with a cigar in his mouth and also with the celebratory champagne as well. And that's when the crowd started to clamber over to that area, and they've now come to the near side of the dugout and circled behind home plate, giving the fans high fives who are still hanging on, trying to get a piece of this celebration. The young guys, Jose Reyes, David Wright, Anderson Hernandez, those are the 3 that are leading the charge around the home plate area. And really, David Wright just going over, slapping high fives to some of the fans and greeting them with a whole clamoring of flash bulbs in his face as well, flashlights in his face as well, as the cameras are taking shots of it also. So kind of neat to see just the exposure to the fans that David Wright and some of the other players are giving them right now out on the field.
It's a great sight. The fans who stayed off the field and stayed in the stands long after the game has ended have been rewarded as the fans have seen the players come out of the dugout, and many of them have got to actually make contact with them. So we're going to get back to a little more post-game activity in a little while. Right now we're going to wrap it up and send it to Mets Extra. The Mets have won the National League East tonight. They have defeated the Florida Marlins 4-0. New York Mets Baseball is a production of Sports Radio 66, WFAN, in conjunction with the New York Mets. The coordinating producer is Melissa Schack. The executive producer is Dove Kramer. Studio operations by Craig Giannotti and Jose Osoria. And our producer-engineer in the booth, the guy who causes all the trouble up here, the immortal Chris Majkowski. Our next game will be tomorrow night when some group of people representing the New York Mets will face the Florida Marlins. Mets Extra at 6:30. Croton Watch game time at 7:10. Croton Watch since 1878, quite possibly the last watch you'll ever own. And so for Tom McCarthy and Ed Coleman, I'm Howie Rose. Thanks for joining us. Once again, the final score tonight, the New York Mets 4, The Florida Marlins, nothing. The Mets have won the championship of the Eastern Division of the National League, and there's a whole lot more to come. Stay tuned for Mets Extra on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
New York Mets baseball on the WFAN Mets Radio Network was brought to you by Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. UPS. What can Brown do for you? Allstate. Are you in good hands? Foxwoods Resort Casino. The wonder of it all in Mystic Country, Connecticut. Nikon. At the heart of the image. Car Buyers Market. New York's Automotive Weekly. Hilton. Makers of fine watches since 1878. AZ Trim Boards. Once you look, it's all you see. Time Warner Triple Play. Hyundai. Take the Hyundai Challenge. Visit thehyundaichallenge.com. The New York Board of Trade. New York's original futures exchange. The New York Lottery. Hey, you never know. Top Dot. Mortgages from a new perspective. And by New York City OTB. We bring the race to you. This is the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Head for the park and greet the Mets. Hot dogs, green grass, all out today. Guaranteed to have a heck of a day.
Welcome to Mets Extra, presented by the New York Long Island Honda dealers. There's good, and there's New York Long Island Honda dealer good. Mets Extra is also brought to you by New York Board of Trade, New York's oldest futures exchange. Meineke Car Care Centers, right service, right price. Lennar, quality, value, and integrity in home building. Ford, check out the best-selling Ford Explorer at a price that's even better, only at your Tri-State Ford dealer. And by Peerless Boilers. Peerless builds America's best boilers. Welcome back to Shea Stadium, everyone. I'm Tom McCarthy. The party continues. The Mets have clinched the 2006 NL East Championship, and the party is celebrating down on the field because the players have come out onto the field, out of the dugout, to celebrate with the remaining fans, and also celebrating down there is our Ed Coleman.
All right, Tommy, thanks very much. With the legions of crazy, the head cheerleader, David Wright, holding up a sign which said what?
National League East 2006 champions. It's got a nice little ring to it.
How's that feel?
Used to that.
Yeah, you can get used to that? I think you probably can, too. You got the cigar in hand. You got the bubbly as well. Tell me what you're feeling right now.
Wow. I mean, you just really couldn't put it into words. I mean, you try to imagine, a couple weeks ago what exactly is going to happen when you do clinch, when that last out's made, and you just can't put it into words. I mean, your body just goes lifeless, and you just start getting emotional. And you're just looking at these fans' reaction. It gets you all juiced up.
This was a crowd that was pumped up and ready for this tonight, but it started to build around the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. I'm sure you felt it out there.
No, from the first inning, from the first pitch, these guys were crazy tonight. And if this is what playoff baseball in New York is like, I want to be here every year.
Do you remember back in St. Louis last year when you and Willie Randolph took a cab after the game, and it was a long, long road trip and a bad one as well, and he said never forget that feeling. How does that feeling compare to this one?
So when I grabbed him after the game, I told him, this is the first of many. We're going to be together hopefully for a long time here with the New York Mets, and this is the first of many. We want to go on a nice little run here, and we've accomplished our short-term goal, winning the NL East, but there's still a long way to go. I want to put a World Series ring on my finger.
David, congratulations.
Thank you, EC.
David Wright, and obviously a very happy David Wright. Tommy, he is, let's see if we can get Jose over here. He's out along the first baseline where we usually see him racing down there.
Yeah, he's always been dancing for the last 15 minutes. He's got to tire out soon, don't you think?
His legs got to get weary a little bit. Jose Reyes right here. Are you out of breath yet? Are you tired yet? You've been dancing now for the last 10 minutes.
I mean, what can I say? I can't even explain this to me.
This is a moment that you guys have been waiting for a long time. Not just the 3 or 4 days you've been trying to clinch, but you've been waiting for this ever since you've been a Met.
I mean, we put a great team together. When we come to spring training, we got so many good guys, and we come to spring training ready to go. This is only the first step for us. We have to go all the way down to the World Series.
Jose, Willie Randolph gives you tough love, as they say. He gets on your case a little bit, but it's meant for the good of you as well, and I think you know that too.
Oh, man, that's good for me. I love Willie so much. That's why I play so hard for him, because he's also a great guy and great manager. So you see everything's go for him.
This is a pretty close team, close unit. The Mets have always had a very good clubhouse, but this one has a little edge to it, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing, because we got a lot of veteran guys, especially for us, for the young guy, that kind of guy helping me and David Wright a lot. So this is a great year for us.
Congratulations, Jose. Go enjoy it, okay?
Thank you.
Jose Reyes. And let's see, I think Duano Sanchez was here a moment ago, but I think I lost him.
He's been out there for a while, too. He's been with the team since the injury, Eddie, and I'll tell you what, he's been soaking this whole thing in.
There's a lot of guys soaking this in, Tommy. There's a lot of guys that have waited a long time for this, and they're getting their chance now. I think it's great that they've come out here to reciprocate with the fans, too, and that was kind of spontaneous. Flip is out here now with his little ones as well. See if we can move down here, and there's Billy Wagner. Hold on a second. We'll get Billy over here if we can, Tommy.
Yeah, Billy was able to close things out tonight
Billy
for the Mets. That must have felt pretty good.
Came back out. Congratulations. How's this feel?
I mean, this is what you dream of. I mean, Leduca running at you, and you doing it in front of your home crowd, and just being able to just be around guys and people you respect.
Billy, you've been looking for a situation that suits you for a long time, and you've been doing this job for a long time as well. The way you're pitching right now heading into the postseason has got to make you feel good.
Well, the guys have played very well behind me, so I really can't take that kind of credit. I mean, tonight, Willingham hits a great ball, and freaking Cliffy makes sure he makes the catch. So, all year long, guys have picked me up, and that's what makes a good team. Guys picking each other up, and we've done it all year long.
Hey, everybody daydreams. Did you envision this scene when you were sitting there thinking about signing a contract in New York in the offseason?
No, I didn't envision it, but I was hoping like crazy. I mean, when you got a Delgado and you've got a Leduca and a Beltran and those guys, that's what you live for.
And, some of the guys, I was talking to Aaron about this, he's nailed down the eighth inning pretty good here over the last couple of months, but he's got a lot of guys in front of him, and he can hand the ball to you. It's nice to have that many guys in front of you getting the ball to you.
Well, I'm only as good as my teammates and with Aaron, with Mota, Sanchez, you name anybody in our bullpen, and they've made me look as good as I've been.
All right, Billy, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Billy Wagner. Tommy, I think I'll send it back to you momentarily anyway until we can find a few more people down here. I think everybody might be out of the clubhouse by now.
Yeah, mass hysteria down on the field on the first base side where all the players that come out, still members of the media, are wandering around as well. And a lot of fans still lingering out there, too.
Hold on.
Well, Ed Coleman down on the field just gazing around, and what is a celebration for all of the Mets players who, began the season with their first spring training game in the first week of March and had their sights set on a National League East Divisional Championship. They had to supplant the Atlanta Braves, who had won 14 consecutive divisional titles, and they supplanted the Braves last week and then had to wait 3 days after being swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates to close things out tonight. But I guess if you have a best-case scenario after a 3-game losing streak, and the Mets had only lost 3 in a row, one other time this season, if you have a best-case scenario after you lose 3 straight, it's to clinch the championship tonight in front of a crowd of more than 46,000. In fact, 46,729. Back to the celebration pit with Ed Coleman and Paul Leduca.
All right, Tommy, thanks very much. Paul Leduca finally tracked him down out here. You're an elusive guy. I can never find you with. I'll tell you what, Paul, this, first of all, it's got to feel great, but, you have worked with so many guys this year to keeping things in line that, I don't know if people have the proper appreciation of what you've meant to this club and what effect you have on this club.
Thank you. I mean, this is an ideal thing, from when I was a kid, when they made me, not a kid, but when I was in the minor leagues, they made me a catcher. Mike Scioscia told me, who was a big part of my life, told me, you got to work with a pitcher. Your offense is secondary, and to clinch it this way in a shutout makes it even more special to me. And unbelievable. Our bullpen has been unbelievable. Stevie T threw the ball unbelievable tonight, and this is an unreal feeling to be out here with our fans. It's an unbelievable feeling.
People ask about MVPs of this team. Carlos Beltran's had a great year. Jose Reyes, there's a number of guys. There's no question about that. But they also talk about heart and soul. And I think you would qualify in that regard. You have kept this team together through some tough times by, your grit and your temperament and saying the right thing at the right time, I think.
Yeah, when I'm arguing with umpires, thank you. I take pride in that. And, Willie came up to me early and said, hey, this is your team. Go with it. And this isn't my team. Team are made up of a lot of different leaders.
and we lead by example, and this clubhouse has been unbelievable, and you can't say anything that. I'm so happy for Carlos Delgado. It's the person that's going to go to the Hall of Fame, and he deserves this more than anything in the world.
I think a lot of people are happy for you, too, because, welcome to the postseason, my friend.
Things happen for a reason. I got traded in 2004, and then LA went to the playoffs, and I wouldn't be here right now if that didn't happen. And I'll tell you right now, I'm happy to be in New York.
How do you feel physically? You okay? I know you're going to get some rest before the season's over, but you like to crawl out there with the pads on every day.
Yeah, I'm okay. I probably won't get rest any tonight, I'll be honest with you, but other than that, I'm okay. I'm ready to go. We got to look at it this way. 11 more wins. We want to get to that point. We haven't done anything yet. We're going to enjoy it now, but 11 more wins.
And look, what a surprise. Your pitchers are looking for you over here, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, they take care of me. This is unbelievable. My father came down, and my father's here, and we started crying together, and it's an unbelievable feeling. I'm going to start crying again. It's awesome.
Dude, congratulations.
Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate it.
Paul LaDuca with us. Tommy Glavine, if we can. There's. I'm sorry I blew you off.
My feelings are hurt.
There are such things as commercials, You got to go to them sometimes. How you doing? How's this feel?
As good as they all do, I mean, they're all awesome, and they're all good for their own reasons. And I tell you what, when I came here, everybody told me it was great to win here, and they weren't lying.
I'll tell you, I for some reason, listen, you did this with an Atlanta Braves an awful lot, Clinch an awful lot. For some reason, there's a spray job going on for the fans in the stands right now. For some reason, I have a hard time picturing the Atlanta Braves out on the field down in Atlanta. Did you ever do it?
I'll tell you what, the first time we did it. We won, we went inside, we had a good time, and came back out and gave our props to the fans. So, it's very similar to that, but it's a different atmosphere. I mean, these people tonight, from the first pitch, they were into the game, and so many extra ticket sales after we lost yesterday. So they wanted to see it, and we were anxious to get it done. So it was pretty awesome.
Tommy, I think a lot of people forget you were so conditioned to winning, being in the playoffs. That was just something that was natural for you. You came here and expected that. It didn't come, and it was tough. The first couple of years, there certainly were disappointments, and you had to fight through that and stay with it and get to this point right now. It's not easy to do.
No, it's not, and it's been some perseverance. I mean, I've had 2 teeth knocked out. I've had a blood clot, and now here I am. So, it's all worth it. I mean, it's the kind of thing that, it's with so many things in life, great things don't come easy, and certainly for me personally and for this organization, getting back here has been a struggle, and it's something that we've all worked hard to try and accomplish. And believe me, now that we're all here, it's good. I mean, it's not where we want to be, but we need to celebrate tonight for what we've accomplished, getting ourselves into playoffs, and know that when we show up tomorrow, there's a lot of work to be done.
One great thing you have is with you and El Duque and Pedro, a lot of wins and a lot of games started in the postseason, and that's huge. You never can tell what's going to happen, and you hope everybody's healthy, but you have that going for you going in.
Well, we do. We have experience, certainly, in the rotation. We have a little bit of experience with the regular guys, but, it's the kind of thing that's that age-old argument. You want experience, you don't want talent. I guess you'd like, in the best of all worlds, to have a little bit of blend of both, and certainly we have that, like you say, in our rotation. So, if we can get Pedro back on track and get him healthy and keep Dookie pitching the way he's pitching, and I got 3 starts to get things back to where they were earlier in the year, and I feel like they're close. So if we do that, then we've got as good a shot as anybody, obviously, and you have to feel good about where we're at and what we're bringing to the ballpark every day. And now it becomes a matter of going out and doing what we've done all season long, which is win ball games.
Are you going to have to, when you toe the rubber in the division series for the first time, you're going to have to step back just for a minute and take a deep breath and remember that feeling?
Probably. I've pitched here in the postseason before, obviously, as an opponent, and it's a pretty remarkable atmosphere, but it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to as a home team player. So, it's, like the similar situation I had the other night where I pitched here after being off for a while and getting back out on that mound for the first time in a while at Shea Stadium. I'm sure it'll be a lot of the same emotions, but you have to do your best to kind of shut all that down and go out there and focus on what you're trying to do.
You do that pretty well. Listen, not talking to me. Go enjoy it with your teammates. Congratulations, Tom.
Appreciate it.
Tom Glavine and the probable starter, Tommy, in game number 2 in the playoffs when they get there.
32 starts, Eddie, already in the postseason for Glavine. You talked about just how seasoned he is, how seasoned Pedro Martinez is as well. I mean, Tommy, in 11 postseasons during the course of his career, I think those 32 games for him and also the games that Pedro has pitched in, they're going to lend themselves to helping this squad when they settle in to their first postseason game. Eddie, back down to you.
All right, thanks very much, Tommy. And a young pup, one of the young pups, just out the Tom Glavine, but John Maine is alongside me here. This feels kind of special, huh?
It's awesome. Never been a part of something like this. I tell you one thing, it's a great feeling.
John, you've been a big part of this club. There's no question about that. I think that gives you a great feeling. You didn't know what was in store for you when the trade happened, I think, in the offseason, but it's worked out pretty well for you.
No, I worked hard, and I had good coaches, good people around me, and it's worked out for the best. And I'll tell you one thing, I'm enjoying every minute of it.
And listen, you're surrounded by guys in that bullpen and in the starting rotation, I think, who have really helped you this year, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to pitch here. They got great group of guys all around, personality and talent in the field. It's fun.
You tell me about Paul LaDuca. I've been talking about Paul a lot this year and what he means to this club, and I think what he means to the pitching staff as well. Tell me about it.
He's awesome. I shook him off once all year. It was the first start, and the guy got a base hit. And ever since then, I haven't shook him off. He knows what he's doing, and I'm not going to second guess him ever again.
You would love to pitch in the postseason, I would imagine, right?
I'd like to, but if it doesn't happen, I'll be the first person there cheering for him, cheering for the whole team. And I like being part of it, but just right now, it's awesome.
All right, congratulations, John.
Thank you.
John Maine and Tommy. It's interesting about this game. there goes Heath Bell showering the faithful there
again.
Again, yeah, I know. What's interesting about this team is Steve Traxel, John Maine, together an awful lot on the road. And, here's two guys that you wouldn't think, they're obviously maybe dueling for a spot and a chance to start in the postseason. But I'll tell you what, Traxel does everything he can to help the kid. And John soaks it all in, too. I mean, it's a great story that way.
Well, a lot of the guys have talked about guys that have helped them along, during the course of their career and how it's a chance for them to sort of pay it back a little bit and, give them an opportunity to pass their wisdom off to some of these younger guys. And listen, both of them, the last two games, Traxel tonight and even Maine yesterday, I mean, they continue to plead a pretty good case for a postseason roster spot.
Yep, absolutely. I think I'm going to get over here and see this guy. This guy right here, Mr. LaDuca. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Isn't this great, Eddie?
It's terrific. As a matter of fact, I know you're a long-time listener, as they say, but...
Born and raised here. But I was just telling Howie Rose, in all my years of following my son from Little League, this is the best chemistry, best bunch of guys he's ever been around. And he'll tell you that.
Well, I know he will, but he's a big reason that chemistry exists, too.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank you and everybody. It's been a tough year for Paul, and it's with the way New York has rallied behind him, and guys like you and stuck by him. I just told Willie and his wife, thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, you should know this by now. He's your son. He's pretty tough. He can handle that stuff,
He's Italian, Eddie.
Hey, enjoy it, okay?
Thank you very much.
Paul LaDuca Sr. out here in the field. That's great that Paul got his dad here and got him out here.
It's funny, Eddie, too. I mean, you talked to a couple of guys that, were Mets fans growing up. David Wright was one of them. Roberto Hernandez was one of them as well. And Paul LaDuca, who wears number 16 for Lee Mazzilli, who wore 16 his first time around in a Mets uniform. And, his dad, who, born in Brooklyn, as he said, used to coach Lee and also Pete Falcone when he was in Brooklyn. So that's where the tie is, and that's where, Paul became a Mets fan originally, and that's why he wears the number 16, because of Lee Mazzilli. So it's kind of tied together, his dad and playing for the Mets now and having an opportunity to go to the postseason with the Mets as well.
Absolutely. Tommy, it's breaking up a little bit here. I'm going to try to work my way down the other end if I can here.
Well, let me just describe to Eddie where you are right now. I mean, you're in front of the Mets.
Where am I?
You're in front of the Mets dugout in a scrum of folks who are out celebrating this Mets championship. The Mets players came out onto the field about a half hour ago, and they haven't left. And there's a throng of fans that are rimming home plate and also out by the Mets dugout. They've got to be 7, 8, even 10 rows deep in certain spots, and trying to consume as much of the celebration as possible. And down on the field, there's a whole host of folks that are walking around, including the guy with you right now, Chris Woodward.
Chris Woodward, and we are live, yeah, as a matter of fact, and the beauty queen, too. What is your name, Dawn? Well, yeah, don't be shy. Sophie, she's a doll, I'll tell you that, and congratulations. This got to feel great.
Thank you. It's a great feeling, and obviously I'm so proud of this team. how we fought all year long, and just kind of came together as a team.
Woody, this has not been the year for you that you would have liked. There's no question about that. And listen, the injury has something to do with it. Your shoulder hasn't been 100% this year. You get that taken care of after the season. But you feel better now, don't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's just fun to be a part of. As long as I can contribute in any way. Obviously, my goal whenever I play is to help the team win. And, whether getting a bunt down or, getting a guy over, it doesn't matter. All I want is the team to win. And, we got the right guys this year. We got a chance to win it all, and that's all we can ask for.
I have a feeling that one game, at least in the postseason, may come down to a right-handed bat off the bench. It has that kind of feel to it. So you gonna be ready for that?
Oh, of course I'm gonna be ready for that. That's the situation you want to be in as a player, and that's the situation I want to be in. I want to be in there when the game's on the line, and that's every dream as a player. And to come up big in a situation like that is, that's all you can have. That's what you play for.
Woody, congratulations. Thanks.
Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate it.
Chris Woodward, it's been a year for him. I'll tell you what, he's one of the better teammates here. There's no question about that. Lastings Village, Lastings come over here. What do you think about this? This is a great initiation for you as a short-time major leaguer. Here you are out on the field celebrating a National League East title.
Yeah, it's great, and you take opportunities like this and run with it. Not too many 21-year-olds can say that they've been here, and it's a great experience, and I hope to have a lot here.
Get
used to this, young man. Get used to this, young man. All right. Love you, man. Nice going. Yeah.
That's Willie Randolph, his manager, who's been tough on you at times, but you know what? He does that for a reason.
Yeah, and it's great. He's like my dad, and he's real tough on me, just like my dad is. And I can relate to it because my dad raised me in a way where the job has to get done, and playing for Willie Randolph, the job has to get done, or he'll tell you about it.
Lastings, I know the way you've played here in the last week, 10 days or so. You obviously have a sense that this team is still trying to figure out what's going to be part of the roster and who's going to be part of the roster. And I think you feel you can still make a contribution to this team if you can show Willie in this time.
Well, yeah, I feel like I can help the team, but it's up to Willie and the rest of the staff. We just got to see what goes on. Right now, we're celebrating, and we're not really worried about that, but when the time comes, then I'll worry about it.
All right, Lastings, enjoy it, okay?
Thank you.
Lastings Village, Tommy. Here's Royce Ring over here. Congratulations, Royce.
Thank you.
How's this feel?
Oh, it's awesome. To experience something like this, coming up and just seeing what this is about and what could happen following this too. It's so exciting, and just to be a part of it is awesome.
Yeah, that's what stringing together all those scoreless innings in Norfolk did. Hey, here you are here.
There you go. I had a good year down there. I got a chance to come up here, and it's been great. Guys are awesome. It's a great clubhouse feel, and they're going to do really well in the playoffs. So it's gonna be great.
That's a pretty good bullpen to sit in and learn, right?
Exactly. They're best in the league, in a lot of categories, and so I get to learn from them, and I get to celebrate with them too, so it's awesome.
Try to slow Heater down a little bit, will you please? Okay.
Oh, I know, he's having too much fun out here, Somebody's got to tell him.
Go have some fun of your own. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Royce Ring, Tommy, and we'll move around here if we can. Try to get everybody on at some point here.
Yeah, you're doing a pretty good job of that, Eddie.
We're doing our best anyhow.
Well,
I'm getting spun around. I'm getting dizzy.
Well, are they doing a contest
with you?
They're doing a contest with you? Is that why you're spinning around? Are you doing some kind of contest? Eddie's down on the field right now, just in front of the first base dugout, down the first base line, and there's still a number of folks that are out on the field celebrating this NL East championship, and there's a whole host of folks that are still in the stands that just aren't going home. They're trying to get a glimpse of all of the celebrations they possibly can. The music has been playing for about 25 minutes to a half hour as the players come out onto the field, and the celebration continues. And we'll continue on Mets Extra with more after this on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Well, they have loosened their collars here at Shea Stadium. The celebration continues. The Mets have clinched the National League East Championship here in 2006. The players are still out on the field, and still a whole host of fans that are behind the Mets dugout celebrating with the team. And also down on the field is Ed Coleman. Eddie.
All right, Tommy, thanks very much. A high compliment to Guy Conti, who is with me, the bullpen coach, a guy who doesn't get the publicity that he should, but he doesn't seek it. But Paul LaDuca, whose father is here, came by and said, this is the guy who taught me right and raised me. And I'll tell you what, I'm sure you like having that guy catching your pitching staff.
Yeah, he's outstanding. It's the fourth time we won a championship together, and I'm just so excited for Paul. I'm so excited for Fred and Jeff Wilpon and the New York Mets.
Guy, I'll tell you what, this is a team that has a deep pitching staff, got a lot of experience on it. I don't know what it can do in the postseason. We're going to find out, but it's certainly, when you look at it and what it can possibly do, it's something nice to look at.
Well, we got some excellent people in that bullpen that come down, and they're not intimidated. They're very aggressive. They know what they have to do, and they get the job done.
You know Pedro better than anybody. I know this is kind of frustrating for him trying to get back and work out the kinks at this point in time, but how is he feeling right now? How's he progressing?
Well, he's progressing. Pedro is going to give us the maximum that he can possibly give us with his injury. We had a bullpen today. He said it felt a little bit better, but he wants to win this thing for the New York fans and New York Mets, and he's going to give everything he can, Eddie.
You know when I used to be able to tell when the good weather was going to come, when I hear your air horn during spring training.
Well, that's outstanding. We've come a long way since that first day in spring.
All right, Guy, congratulations. Great job.
Thanks, Eddie, and good luck to you. Thanks,
Guy. Guy Conti, the bullpen coach, a terrific guy, and a guy who has done a great job with his pitching staff. Another guy who's done a great job as well is the third base coach, Manny Acta. Congratulations, man.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
This is a team, I'll tell you what, which kind of rivals none. It's an amazing mix of people that Omar Minaya has put together.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. The fact that they went out there and got players of this caliber, they just didn't go out there and got players. They got players that are not only good on the field, but off the field. They can get along with the other guys. They're good. They help the young kids. The chemistry has been terrific. I mean, I can't say enough about what Loduca, Julio Franco, Carlos Delgado, Duaner Sanchez, and the late addition of Mota. And then guys like Williams have come up and stepped up and done a good job when we need them. John Maine, so all the credit goes to the front office and all the coaches that work with us, Willie Randolph. I mean, it's just been terrific.
Manny, you know this better than anybody because you're going to be a manager someday soon, I think, and a good one as well. You know how important it is for a staff and a coaching staff to blend together, and this one works together pretty well.
Yeah, it's been terrific. I mean, we got along so well since last year. I think that's another, part of what the front office has done. Put together a bunch of people that can get together, can work with people, can coach at the big league level, because a lot of people think that you don't need to coach up here, but we haven't stopped. We got a lot of young kids and veteran guys. We keep coaching, and we see what's going on here. A lot of people thought that by July maybe we would have been in the fight, and then they'll make a move and help us out, and we just blew everybody away from day one, so it's been terrific.
If I told you that you had to have labrum surgery from windmilling guys in from third base in the postseason, would you sign on the dotted line right now?
We kind of had that feel when we knew that we brought in Delgado and, Wright with another year of experience, and Jose Reyes, maturing, and Beltran in front, but it's been terrific. I think we're still second in the league in run score, and it's just been unbelievable. It's a terrific experience. I hope we can take the next step and give this crowd what they deserve.
Find out, Manny. Good luck. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Ed.
Manny Acta, the third base coach. Oliver Perez. Now, here's a guy who was sitting in Pittsburgh there for a while, and now, listen, you're on the Shea Stadium turf here and celebrating this. How's this feel?
Yeah, right now I feel so happy. This is my first time I feel that, and, so right now we don't finish yet. So we have to keep going, trying to go to the World Series.
Oliver, you are still in the rotation, which is very interesting, and Willie has said, look, hey, if he can show me what he can do here, rotation, bullpen probably or something, you have a chance here in the next couple of starts to go out there and do something.
I just going to keep going to try. When they give me the ball, I'm going to do everything I can, and they give me opportunity or no, so always going to be 100% to do it everything they want.
Tell me what's helped you the most since you've come here. What's helped you be at the level you are right now?
Everybody know I was thinking too much in the mound. So right now, when I come here, I saw everybody have fun and be relaxed, and I think that was I start feeling that. And the last two games, I was feeling really good.
All right, well, take a deep breath and relax in a couple of days and go out there and show them. All right.
Thank you very much.
Oliver Perez, Tommy. I'll tell you, he still has some starts to cash in on, and if he can do it, he may be doing something with this team in the postseason as well.
Well, no question, Eddie. In fact, Willie Randolph has taken Dave Williams out of the rotation for the time being, but he's kept a six-man staff, and he is part of that six-man staff. It may change as we get closer to the postseason because don't forget, Willie Randolph has said that Pedro Martinez is targeted right now to be the Game 1 starter in the postseason if he's healthy. And, you know, as you heard Guy Conti say, he had a very good bullpen session today. That's great news. It'll be even better news tomorrow when he responds to that bullpen session. So there's a lot of optimism going into the final couple of weeks of the season, Eddie. And I know there's a lot of young guys that have contributed and also young guys that have been able to soak this night in, which continues.
Yeah, it certainly does. And Brian Bannister is soaking it in. Where's your camera? You know, you're the photographer. Where's your camera?
That's a good point, Eddie.
Mark was in there, and all his cameras got ruined from the champagne, so I'm glad I didn't bring mine because I thought about it.
Brian, I'll tell you what, this feels like for you probably 2 or 3 seasons rolled into one because there's been so many chapters, and we were talking about it a few days ago about San Francisco and going around third base and that, but I'll tell you what, you're still a part of this team. You've been a big part of this team, and you've got to feel very special tonight.
Yeah, you know, there are a lot of chapters in the story for me, and, you know, to be in the first chapter and to be in the last, you know, those are the most important, and, you know, I've been rooting these guys on all year. It's been a tough year for me. Mentally, but to be here, to be able to celebrate with these guys, and to be able to contribute something to this team, it's been fun to watch. These guys are so talented, and you know, it's going to be hard for teams to come in here and have a chance because these guys are going to be pumped. The fans are here; they're rooting us on, and it's exciting.
You can probably put this best. What is special about this team to you?
Everybody picks each other up, and you know, I went down and somebody else picked me up. We've had so many young guys coming and filling that fifth spot in the rotation. I don't think anybody in spring training could have predicted the way it would all turn out. You know, we've had injuries to guys like me and Zambrano and Dwanner, and I can tell you firsthand, it kills us not to be a part of this team for even one day. But to be here, to be able to celebrate with these guys, it means so much to us. And you look around, there's so many good young guys. This team has a great core, and the future looks really bright.
Well, I think what's a good thing about this team, too, and the organization as well, is I think the veteran players who are here and on the roster have made you guys feel like you're part of the team as well, even if you're injured.
Yeah, you know, they sit down with us and teach us, and, you know, we learn firsthand from the best, and you can't ask for anything better. And to be able to learn it in New York with the greatest fans and, you know, under intense pressure, but at the same time you're maturing at a faster rate. It's really exciting, and, you know, we're just looking forward to years to come.
Stay healthy, okay? All right, Bob?
Well, thank you very much.
Brian Bannister, Tommy, he's had quite a season, I will say that.
Oh, absolutely.
The ups and downs.
Yeah, and the great thing, too, is he said, I mean, guys just pull for each other, and early on in the season, let's face it, he was pulling for everybody, and they were pulling for him because he had a pretty successful first month before that injury in San Francisco. So he was a big part of what has led to this National League East title for the New York Mets because they have used 13 different starting pitchers, and he is one of those starting pitchers and probably would have been in this rotation throughout the year if it weren't for that injury which he sustained out in San Francisco at the end of April. So he did his job early on, and I think the thought process is that he can be a big part of this rotation as we move forward, as the Mets move forward in 2007. I know Sean Green is getting a chance to soak all of this in because, I mean, let's face it, he was acquired before the trade deadline, and he really has had an influence on this squad, Eddie.
He certainly has. There's no question about that. You haven't been here this long, and this is a pretty good celebration for a short time, huh?
This is great, yeah. You know, for me, I feel like it's a gift to get a chance to come here. Obviously, it was inevitable this team was going to win the division, and my goal is to really contribute as we get down the postseason and help this team win a championship.
You know, I think one thing that is nice about this team, Sean, and I think you found that out right away when you got here, is that people make you feel at home right away. Sometimes it takes a little while to fit in with a team, but you kind of fit in seamlessly right away.
Yeah, you know, I've been here about a month, and I feel like I've been here all year, and that's a great thing, great feeling, and it's due to having great people in the clubhouse and not just talented ball players, which obviously is the case, but it's a tremendous mix of personalities, guys that know how to win and know how to play the game, but also know how to treat people.
You know, you played the game a long time, and you haven't had that many playoff experiences. So when they come around, I think you know by now, as you get older, you have to take advantage of them.
Yeah, I think you definitely appreciate it more as you get older. Like you look at a guy like Delgado, guys like Laduca, who've had great careers and haven't had a chance yet. It's a lot different. You appreciate it, you savor it. Nights like tonight, hopefully the next time we celebrate, and hopefully the next time, that's the goal. They mean more than they do, I think, you know, if it's your couple years in the league, and you're already here.
And you got to feel special for those guys, former teammates, and you got to feel very nice for them tonight.
Yeah, I mean, to get to come to a team like this and have a chance to do something really special is one thing, but to have guys that have meant a lot in my life and in my career, like Delgado, guys like LaDuca, Guillermo Mota, just to name a few, it makes it that much more special.
Congratulations, Sean. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Sean Green down here, Tommy. And I don't know if we've hit everybody or not. The only guy that I saw before that we were trying to get was Dwanner, but who was not on the team, but he's been with the team all year. So, and that's the reason Roberto is here. But I'm not sure if we can find him in time.
Well, Eddie, you did a great job. We appreciate it. And Sean Green, who went to the postseason in 2004, but also was part of that Blue Jays team in 1993, and that's what he was talking about appreciating the first trip. He wasn't part of the postseason roster, but he and Carlos Delgado were both brought up in the month of September by Cito Gaston, so they could consume, much like Brian Bannister and Royce Ring and Lastings Millage, consume what the Blue Jays went through that final month of the year, and then use that for the future as well. So that's kind of cool to see those guys here and see some of the veterans get a second chance to go back, and some of the veterans get a chance to go back, get a chance to go to the postseason for the first time as well.
Absolutely. This is, I'll tell you what, it's been quite a scene down here, and just the way they reciprocated out here on the field, obviously gave us a little more room to work, too, which was nicer rather than in the locker room. But
Eddie, was interesting, too. While you were in the clubhouse, the fans were starting to walk away. They were starting to leave. They had gotten all the celebration that they were in search of, but they were chanting Jose Reyes' name. And then finally he came out. They were already leaving, but they all came storming back to the dugout when Reyes came out, then Wright came out, and then everybody else followed as well. So it was kind of a neat scene to see the tidal wave of players come out and the tidal wave of fans go down to the dugout as well.
Well, it's been I'd say a long time coming. What was it? It's been 4 or 5 days while it's been sitting at 1, and it feels like about 4 or 5 months.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, Willie Randolph had that sly smile on his face before the ball game today. I think he would have liked to have gotten it done this past weekend, but I think he was okay with the chance to get it done tonight in front of the home crowd. Eddie, we appreciate it. We'll have more down on the field maybe when we return, but we're going to take one more break. When we come back, we'll be back live at Shea Stadium after this on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
You're listening to Mets Extra with Tom McCarthy on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
This is Carlos Delgado, and you're listening to Mets Extra with Tom McCarthy on the Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN, New York.
Here's the 1-1 pitch to Borchard. And it's hit hard into the glove of Delgado on one hop. Fires to second one. Reyes to first. Double play. 3-6-3. Delgado with a tremendous pick on a hard hit one-hopper. He went to his knees, played the short hop. Reyes threw a P back to first base to get Borchard by a step and a half. 2 men out, nobody on.
And Heilman threw the changeup to get Joe Borchard on the 3-6-3 double play. That was the final threat for the Florida Marlins. That was in the 8th inning of tonight's game. That's our defensive call of the game, sponsored by Lennar. Quality, value, and integrity in home building. Well, the Mets have won the National League East title, their 5th NL East championship, and they do so by finishing off the Florida Marlins tonight by a final score of 4-0. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by the Babylon IDA. Our business is business. We'll go to the National League first, where the Mets were keeping an eye on what was going on down in Philadelphia, because if the Phillies wound up losing, and even if the Mets wound up losing tonight, well, the Mets would win the National League East title. Well, that game was not over when the celebration took place here at Shea Stadium. So the Mets were watching the scoreboard, but it really didn't matter, as the Chicago Cubs were able to defeat the Philadelphia Phillies tonight by a final score of 11-6. Aramis Ramirez hit 2 home runs. Sean Moore hit his 2nd Major League home run, and Juan Pierre hit his 3rd home run of the season. But Jose Hernandez made it tight with a grand slam in the 4th inning. That was a 6-run 4th. That made it 8-6. The Phillies were down by 2, but then the Cubs scored a run in the 5th and 2 more in the 9th inning. They won it 11-6 over Philadelphia. Other final scores around the National League. Houston defeated Cincinnati 5-3 as Roy Oswalt improved to 14-8. Ray Olmedo and Todd Hollinsworth had home runs for Cincinnati. Atlanta edged Washington 6-1. Kyle Davies the winner. He's 3-5. Darrell Ward and Andrew Jones both homered for the Braves. And games that are in progress right now. They're in the bottom of the 9th inning in Milwaukee. The Cardinals and the Brewers tied at 3 apiece. Albert Pujols has belted his 46th home run for St. Louis. Colorado is all over San Francisco, 18-6. The Rockies lead the Giants, And it's been a throttling since the early going of that ball game. San Francisco jumped out to a 3-0 lead, but then Colorado scored 6 in the first, 3 in the second, and then 3 more in the third. They were on top 12-3 as that game went to the 4th inning. And a very important ball game out in Los Angeles. The Padres lead the Dodgers 4-2. That one's in the top half of the 3rd inning. Brad Penny against Jake Peavy in that game. Meanwhile, in the American League, well, the Yankees came from behind to defeat the Toronto Blue Jays 7-6. They scored 3 runs in the top of the 9th inning. They thought maybe that would be it. But then the Blue Jays scored 3 times in their half of the 9th. The Yankees held on 7-6 the final. Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez both homered for the Yankees. In fact, for A-Rod, his 34th of the year. Derek Jeter, his 14th home run of the season. Baltimore defeated Tampa Bay 4-1. Eric Bedard is now 15-9. Detroit beat up on Chicago 8-2 as Kenny Rogers won his 16th ball game. Craig Monroe, he homered early, and then Maglio Ordonez hit 2. Brandon Inge hit his 25th. Meanwhile, for the White Sox, Jim Thome dealt it his 40th of the year. And Texas, behind Kevin Millwood, they defeated Seattle 8-1. Kevin Millwood is now 16-10 on the year. And a game in progress, Cleveland is on top of Oakland 4-0. That one is in the bottom of the 3rd. Well, here at Shea, the Mets won it 4-0 over the Marlins, and they clinched the NL East Championship. And the Mets, of course, got 2 home runs from Jose Valentin tonight. So Hyundai will donate another $200 to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund, benefiting the Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital of New York Presbyterian. This season's total contribution is now $18,800. Those 2 home runs are all part of the highlights, and we'll listen back to them when we return.
You're listening to Mets Extra with Tom McCarthy on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Well, back here at Shea Stadium, I'm Tom McCarthy. The Mets and the Florida Marlins wrap up Game 1 of this 4-game series. Obviously, there were a lot of expectations coming into tonight's game. The Mets had lost 3 straight to the Pittsburgh Pirates, which delayed their clinching of the NL East Championship. Well, tonight, they sent Steve Traxel to the mound, and Traxel was looking to get back on track. Over his last 2 outings, Steve had gone just 7 innings and allowed 7 earned runs. But he came in with a record of 14-7, an ERA of 5.17. On the opposite side for the Marlins was Brian Moeller. Now, the Marlins yesterday had an awful loss to the Atlanta Braves, so they came into Shea Stadium reeling somewhat. And early on, both teams were trying to feel their way through offensively. Moeller pitched a 1-2-3 first and 1-2-3 second inning. But Traxel followed it up with a scoreless first and a scoreless second, and then a perfect 1-2-3 top half of the 3rd. So as we shifted to the bottom of the 3rd inning, the game was scoreless when Sean Green was hit by a pitch. He is the number 7 batter in this lineup for New York. Now, Jose Valentin really had been struggling on the road trip. 1 for 18 on the trip. A lot of his work was done from the right side of the plate. Well, tonight, he was batting from the left side of the plate. And he was next up facing Brian Moeller with a runner on first. So 1-0. Fastball hit high in the air toward deep right field. Forget about this one. Gone! A home run for Jose Valentin. A 2-run shot. His 16th of the year. It went right into the Mets bullpen. And New York is on top 2-0. So 2-0, the Mets are on top. The 16th homer of the year for Valentin. 57 RBIs in this place, 46,729. They were energized by that home run. Traxel followed it up with a scoreless 4th inning. In fact, he allowed his first base hit of the night, a 2-out double to Josh Willingham in the 4th. But then a big pitch in the ball game. He got Mike Jacobs looking on strikes with a fastball on the outer half of the plate. In the top of the 5th inning, he retired the Marlins in order once again. In fact, that was the 3rd time in the game he had retired the 1-2-3. At that point, he had thrown just 68 pitches. Meanwhile, the Mets stranded a runner on 3rd base in the 4th inning. So as we went to the bottom of the 5th inning, it was still 2-0 in favor of New York. With 1 man down, Sean Green had grounded out to second base. Brian Moeller, who was probably in his final inning of work at that point, he got a chance to face Jose Valentin for a 2nd time, and this was our Foxwoods Resort Casino turning point of the game.
The 1-1. That's hit in the air to right field. Pretty deep. Back goes Ross. He's at the wall. It is gone. Home run, Jose Valentin. His 2nd home run of the game. And the Mets have a 3-0 lead.
Valentin's home run gave the Mets a little breathing room. His 2nd home run gave the Mets a little breathing room. They could relax a little bit because now instead of a 2-0 lead, it was 3-0 in favor of New York. Moeller was done after 5. He allowed 3 runs on 5 base hits. He didn't walk anybody, and he struck out 4. Meanwhile, Reniel Pinto was the first one out of the pen in the bottom of the 6th inning. And the first guy he faced was Carlos Beltran, and he issued a walk. After Carlos Delgado went down on strikes, David Wright hit a one-hopper, smoked a one-hopper, to the third baseman Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera mishandled the ball for an error. That moved Beltran up to second. The Mets had 2 runners on with 1 man down. It was the left-hander Pinto facing the left-handed hitting Cliff Floyd.
So 1-2 pitch to Floyd. Chopped on the ground toward first. Pass by Jacobs into right field. Rounding third. Heading for home is Beltran. Ross held the baseball and it threw to second base. Beltran slides in safely at home. An RBI signal for Cliff Floyd, and the Mets are on top 4-0.
So a good sign for the Mets that Cliff Floyd got a base hit against the left-hander. The RBI is 42nd of the year, and the Mets were on top 4-0. Steve Traxel, meanwhile, took that 4-run lead and carried it into the top half of the 7th inning. He allowed a leadoff single to Miguel Cabrera, but after getting Josh Willingham on a line drive to third, he allowed a single to Mike Jacobs. That turned out to be it for Steve Traxel. Willie Randolph was content because his bullpen was rested to go to Guillermo Mota. And Mota got the next 2 batters that he faced and was able to nurture the 4-0 lead for New York. Bottom of the 8th inning, Aaron Heilman was the next one out of the pen for the Mets. He got Miguel Olivo, or he watched as Miguel Olivo singled on a 3-2 pitch to left center field. But then Joe Borchard bounced into a 3-6-3 double play to put the first 2 outs on the board. That was followed by Hanley Ramirez going down swinging on strikes, the second time in the game that Ramirez went down on strikes. So, 4-0, Mets were on top. They went down quietly against Chris Rhysop in the bottom of the 8th inning. So all that was left was the top of the 9th. Billy Wagner was summoned from the pen despite the fact it was not a save situation. Willie Randolph wanted to make sure he slammed the door on the NL East Championship, and Wagner got Dan Uggla to pop out to second, and then Miguel Cabrera, who was up with nobody on, and the Mets on top 4-0, to fly out to right center field. So the Mets were down to their final out. Josh Willingham, the cleanup hitter for the Marlins, he stood in as Billy Wagner went in search of the NL East Championship.
Wagner ready. A 1-0 pitch. Swing and a fly ball to left field. Backing up Floyd. He's there. Put it in the book. The New York Mets have won the National League Eastern Division Championship, and the party is underway. They're mobbing Billy Wagner right behind the pitcher's mound. Here comes the Mets out of the bullpen. Everybody emptying out of the dugout. Billy Wagner is being mobbed, but so is Willie Randolph. He is being embraced by his coaches. He's hugging the trainers. Everybody is celebrating in their own way. The players out on the field, the staff in front of the dugout, and the fans in the stands here at Shea Stadium. For the 5th time in the history of the New York Mets, they have won the championship of the Eastern Division of the National League.
It was the first time since 1988 that the Mets had celebrated a divisional championship. This one a 4-0 victory over the Florida Marlins. It took 91 wins for New York to clinch the NL East title. Steve Traxel got the victory. He's now 15-7. Meanwhile, Brian Moeller suffered the loss. He fell to 7-9. A big night here at Shea, 46,729. They watched the Mets win it 4-0. And you heard the Foxwoods Resort Casino turning point of the game. Listen tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. to Joe Beningo. Be the first caller to correctly identify the turning point of the game for your chance to win a Croton watch. Game 2 tomorrow, and the Mets will send left-hander Tom Glavine to the mound, and he'll be opposed by lefty Scott Olson. That's part of our next game pitching matchup, brought to you by AZIC Trim Boards. Once you look, it's all you'll see. Hey, our defensive player of the game, which is brought to you by Allstate. Are you in good hands? Tonight's defensive player of the game, we'll give it to Mets catcher Paul LaDuca. Mets Extra was presented by the New York Long Island Honda dealers. There's good, and there's New York Long Island Honda dealer good. Mets Extra was also brought to you by New York Board of Trade, New York's oldest futures exchange. Meineke Car Care Centers, right service, right price. Lennar, quality, value, and integrity in home building. Ford, check out the best-selling Ford Explorer at a price that's even better. Only at your Tri-State Ford dealer. And by Peerless Boilers. Peerless builds America's best boilers. Well, the Mets, for the 5th time in their history, are the National League East champions. They win it tonight with a 4-0 victory over the Florida Marlins. A paid crowd of 46,729. and they have been celebrating ever since the final out was recorded. Our thanks to Ed Coleman and to Howie Rose, John Schweibacher, Chris Majkowski, and everybody else. So long, everybody, from Shea Stadium. I'm Tom McCarthy.